Oh, of course. Problem with touchscreens, you can't wipe them off without activating something. Well, it's late. And it's Thursday? Yeah. First day back to school for a little one. Not public school. Not to worry. All right. I guess we're doing this. I've run into a couple different interesting stories. Interesting enough. Losing sight of the fun, or maybe not, or I don't know. Is it fun? Intriguing, exciting. I just don't understand how much is being wasted, how much energy and time is being wasted. Yeah, I get it that, if anybody understands this, it's probably me and very few other people. Just how fucked we are. Just how imminent the danger is. There's a Bolshevik 2.0 right around the corner. But at the same time, all that being said, and being fully aware that everything else, when the house is burning down, would be simply not a priority or a distraction. It's awful convenient for the entities or the group of little demons in skin suits who thrive on negativity, to have every conscious mind thinking about them, talking about them, concerned about all the, and what they do, they just stoke the fire day after day. More and more absolute and total disregard for reason, sensibility. There's no integrity. There's no justice. And everything becomes one blatant assault on what you would consider your rights, or just on decency itself. Day after day after day, from the highest offices. And when you know what you know, when you know what you know, you know exactly where it's coming from and what the entity is. And it's obviously not American. But it is in control. And it has been for over 150 years. We touched upon this a little bit with Dr. Glidden saying, there hasn't been any innovation. It's all stalled out in the last, he said 100 years. It's been about 150. When good things did arise, technologies either rediscovered or discovered, the people who were responsible for them were cast out of history, diminished, ridiculed, sometimes murdered, other times impoverished, and what they had to offer mankind as far as how it would make them independent of a centralized control was turned into a weapon against them, or it was, at least for the meantime, taken completely away from the public consciousness. That's not to say that they're not sitting on it, or they're not using something for themselves, but if it hasn't been weaponized, you're not seeing it. If it has been turned against us or mankind at large, you don't see it. Why is that? That's not the hands of humans doing that, or anything that's not at least what do you call it? Suicidal and homicidal at the same time. So no sense of self preservation, or at least we would think that. But maybe the same things that harm us don't harm them. See, we get confused by this whole thought that hey, they're humans too. Are they though? They don't ever seem very comfortable in those skins. And I'm just sick of giving all my energy over to them because that's exactly what they like. They will say that they're being persecuted. They'll say that they're being, the victimized. They'll say this and that and the other thing, and then everybody's picking on them. But they thrive on negative energy. That's why they continue to let you see what they do, because they want the sensible, rational thinking human beings, the ones with the most energy to give, to be flabbergasted and outraged and stunned by how they behave and how bold they are. And what does that do? It makes you think about the problem and how imminent it is all the time. And what does that do? It's a constant sipping of your energy that they're sucking up. Fuck it. Fuck them. They don't deserve any more. This either makes sense to you or it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know if this makes sense to you or not. Trust me, it makes sense. And maybe if it doesn't make sense to you, maybe that's part of the problem. Does the people that actually have a shit ton of energy that they could be using on better things, well, those are the ones that are clever, wise enough or have the comprehension level and the depth of their character enough to see how fucking awful and evil and wicked and all-consuming and how deep the roots of this wicked cult are. So, of course, they're going to be the most concerned about it, and the perfect mechanism is in place. It's the perfect formula for those people to be constantly giving off, they're off-gassing their energy to this demonic fucking force because it loves being thought about. The only thing that evil can't stand is ridicule, but that's still giving them. It's more like a laughing, dismissive ridicule because angry ridicule, they're all for it. But it's more of a lack of acknowledgement. They're like little brats that have to always be, they have main character syndrome. They're the Ryan Reynolds of demonic beings. Maybe Ryan Reynolds is a demonic being. Everything has to be about them and turned around about them. And if you don't think about it long enough, they'll bring up hoax and all kinds of other bullshit and remind you that they're the victims and they're the only victims. Doesn't matter how many babies they're killing at the time or eating. They made it very clear to you. But they rubbed it in your face, smeared it all over your face, and then they wiped their ass with the same cloth and then rubbed it back on your face with the Epstein files. Hey, we're gonna let you see half of all these horrific documents, and then we're not gonna do shit about it. And if that doesn't send a more powerful message than they've ever sent, I don't know what else you're looking for. You are fucked. You are a prisoner. You're gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. And this is what we do. What are you gonna do about it? Because if you expect the criminals and the cult to put themselves in jail, they just prove to you that ain't gonna happen. They'll let you see everything, and then they'll look right at you and say, "Nope, don't see anything here." And then you're scrambling like, wait a minute. What about how obvious this code and cryptic language is? What about when they actually don't use cryptic language and they're flat out telling you this? They just look at you. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. You're the fish dangling on the line, shaking your head back and forth in disbelief. But you're still hooked. Anyway, I'll leave Voodoo Ranger. Wow. What did Van Wilder do? No, I've just been, like I said, I've been doing a lot of work, so I just play things in the background when I'm working. Edward Snowman, hello, Irvat. And one of the things I caught was how Ryan Reynolds is hated by everybody because he's a manipulator and he's always using his PR team to get people like who are getting interviewed for their own particular awards and stuff like that. So to say things like, "What was it like working with Ryan Reynolds?" Like shit like that, just so his name is brought up when it's their moment. The guy's just a piece of shit. Like, you know, it's pretty obvious. Like the whole Deadpool thing. That's kind of his character all the time, but at the expense of other people. Right. So, yeah. Anyway. Now, Christopher Walken, we're going to talk about him in a minute. He should have done the old Hooked on Phonics commercials. Remember? The man, and dog. Do you remember that? He would be better, like, the man... and I'm not gonna do it, but it's when you do a grocery list. The best, if you want to practice, if you want to practice a Christopher Walken impression, start with a grocery list. Did anybody ever teach you this? Well, here you go. You're like, milk, eggs. Just go down the list. You'll get the cadence. It'll be fun. All right. Where the hell? Watch history. The fuck? Where's it? Ah, there it is. Wow, that was slow. Hold on one second. You didn't want to hear that burp, trust me. All right. Did we do this anymore? Wait, what is this? Ah, yeah, that's cool. So you make a little icon there if you can see it flashing in the corner. That's gonna be I hope you care. Hope you care, because I'm putting a lot of effort in this shit. Fit tips is one of the topics that will be recurring. Fit news, and then that'll be like usually reactions to other people's videos. But Ferula is this new thing. It's not new. It's the plant. All right, and apparently it's like the cousin plant of some other plant that was used so much that they think it was used out of into extinction. It was a botanical, but they're saying, oh, this ferula is, and like, oh, it'll double your testosterone, maybe even triple. Like, that's fucking a lot. How? Because if it's not dumping, it's not like getting injections of it. So it's causing something that would produce it to overproduce it or something like that, right? Like it's a triggering mechanism. It's some sort of signal that's, again, overriding body. So I was like, that can't be good. Sure enough, it is not good. It's not good at all. For short term, right? And then, well, I guess I'll just have to watch the video, because this is something that Coach Greg Doucette is about to release on my birthday month. And he's talking about how great it is, testosterone, yada. It's like in clomiphene, blah, blah, blah. Like that's good or something. It's not. And, yeah. Well, he didn't have to look too hard or too long to find out just how fucking bad this stuff is. I'm not sure how he missed that. I'll just give you a little sample here. Ferula, an aphrodisiac, ferula, and the spermatogenesis and the male reproductive system. Okay, so those are just topics. Now there's a bunch of like weird mathematical equations here. I'll skip over the next one. Can you see these? So that's Ferula. That's the thing that's coming out. Insane natty testosterone benefits. And fuck the long term, or not even long term. They say if you do this a little bit, I'm not sure how long you'd have to use it for, a year, a week, once, but then it absolutely crashes you. And since it's not going to be forthcoming quickly, apparently, I had pulled all these out because the headers were infertility, reproductive disorder, all stemming from utilizing this. So in the short term, it's really amazing feeling. Yeah, feeling. So is heroin. So is ecstasy. I mean, I don't know what. I'm not anti-ecstasy. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not anti-MDMA, or I'm not even anti-MDPV. I'll let you figure out what that is. I just think that in the wrong hands, it could make somebody really fucked up. Or if they're chasing something like some sort of even spiritual quest, you can get lost in it. Hey, Ayub. My stepfather worked with a guy by that name at the health department for New York State. He wasn't Irish. Just in case you're curious. All right, so these aren't exactly what I thought. Let me see if I can pull something else up. So yeah, it says short-term use of ferula plants like Ferula hormonis, so I guess there's different ones, can increase testosterone and improve sexual function, but long-term or chronic use has been shown in animal studies to significantly lower testosterone levels and harm reproductive health. What's up with that, Greg? Are you telling people not to take it for a long period of time? What are you doing here? Why are you so excited to release this? Acute or single dose administration triggers a temporary rise in luteinizing hormone (LH). So I told you, yeah, it would be something that's gonna stimulate the growth, the production of something else. Follicle stimulating hormone (FSH) and serum testosterone. Sexual performance. Animal studies know reduced latencies in sexual behavior and improved erectile response parameters after short or low dose intake. So you take your ferula and your Cialis, and then you go to Tijuana and you order 3. I'll take 3 with double D's, please. And then you find a room that's not too dirty. You know what I mean? Long-term risks. Hormone reproduction. Repeated or chronic intake over several weeks leads to a sharp decrease in testosterone production. Well, what? It seems like kind of the opposite thing. Because if steroids can tank and destroy your natural production, well, just because it's a plant, how does that make it better? It's the damage that matters, right? Not the manner in which you're using it. Oh, this is a pharmaceutical synthetic or copycat chemical of something that's naturally recurring. Take this. Versus, yeah, this comes from a plant. It's a botanical, so it's got to be good, right? Not if it does the same bad shit. Like, poison ivy's not good for you. That's a botanical. Unless it's Rux toxicodendron. Toxicodendron. Yeah, Rux toxicodendron is a homeopathic preparation of poison ivy. And I've taken it before for whatever the hell I took it for. Uncle. Yeah, Uncle Glidden. Uncle Peter told me to take it. So Rux toxicodendron, however, is basically ionized. It's not even the law of potentization means it's very insignificant trace amount of it, and it's just enough to send the signal that your body needs to hear to let it know that there's things wrong, because it's not getting it. Whatever is going on in the body is not being told that there's issues somewhere, so that they're piling up. So when you give it the thing, and boom, oh, okay, that type of shit. So there you go. I would not rub poison oak in my little eyeballs, though. Rub it into my tear ducts. So it's not across the board just because something's a plant and it means it's good. Yep. Raw honey and royal jelly. Pine pollen is great for testosterone, even for women. It's adaptogenic. Wow. That's funny. All right. I think I've seen everybody. Wow, this is awesome, though. Like, we got Irva, we've got Edward Snowman, we've got Voodoo Ranger, which is a treat. It's good to see you. What a good time. What a good time. All right, let's go. Let's watch the little bit of the Christopher Walken thing. So it's not it's not. I did end up watching it ahead of time, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't some bullshit. Because I've been coming across a lot of just horribly put together videos, and their subject matter is a person who has plenty of horrible things to say about them, to ridicule them for, but they're framing their perspective on what is bad. Okay, all right, okay. If Eva Arabians says one more fucking thing about that shit, toss it. Anyway. It's just like with Trump first term. Now, hear me out. You got to look back and remember. They're like, oh, he did this, that, and the other thing, which were like inconsequential to the fact that he was boosting up the red flag laws, saying take the firearms first, due process second, and also doing that shit with the anti-Semitism crap at, the First Amendment destruction at campuses. Those were things that the liberal media, they didn't touch. They were bitching about things that were insignificant and retarded about Russia, right? So, in the same vein, I don't know why I pointed at my head when I said that. In the same vein, that's how they were treating these other topics, like the Nazule, for instance. They're like, oh, if it says this in the court documents, and he's saying it's not, it's like, no, dude, have you lived a day of life and experienced anything? Do you think that the shit that you see in the court proceedings is by any way reflective of reality? It's like you're criticizing the wrong things because of your lack of intellect or your life experience, and you're actually smug about it. Like, the world is perfect and nobody ever lies and everybody has got 100% integrity, especially these institutions that run our lives. Oh, yeah. That's why we're all fucked, because of people like you. And so, yeah, I've been coming across a lot of videos that they criticize people, but it's from the mindset or perspective of somebody who is like a couple degrees away from a cultural Marxist, or just a plain retard who believes in all the progressive bullshit about modern pop culture. And like, oh, well, if I say this and virtue signal there and agree about something, I'm assuming that they would how they would view this, then I'll get more views, type of thing. And when you listen to it, it's like, dude, you have to be retarded to think that this is a thing. When there's so many things to ridicule this guy about, especially for being a goddamn Israeli. Like, there's a good one, Ben Azule. Why the hell wouldn't you start with that? Rather than some other nitpicking nonsense. It's like, yes, it's obvious he's a compulsive liar, but also courts and lawyers and judges are all liars. Both can be true at the same time. He can be full of shit when he tells his stories, and he could also be telling the truth about how the court proceeding went. You know what I mean? Both can be true. All right, let's get into it. So this one's not bad. And then there's another one that's over here. I kind of like this one too. Christopher Walken exposes the 7 actors he hated the most. I thought this was pretty good, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know. You get the impression that the guy is just really good at what he does, and he goes in there to do the job, and he gets irritated by people who are trying to get the feel and work their freaking. You know what I mean? What's my motivation? Method acting and acting like a jerk to everybody to try to get into a character. Like, that shit doesn't fly with him. Not to mention the fact he is a world-class tap dancer, or dancer, I guess you could just say. In case you didn't know. There's only 280 subscribers to this channel? I'd have to see more before I got all giddy and liked it. Anyway. How did I get this thing to start? Where's the thing? Hold on. There it is. I just clicked it. Oh, wait, hold on. Make sure you guys can see it. All right, good. Look how slow it's like. Come on! What the hell? I just fixed this, too.
Christopher Walken is a...
So, this is debate, right? As in not debating, like I'm going to debate you. No, but this is the bait. I mean, that looks really cool on him. It's velvet, for Christ's sake. And, you know, but it's not exactly what it appears to be. It's kind of balanced. I mean, there's some shit in there that it's soft-headed thinking to, oh, you fucking bitch. You fucking bitch. Not again with that fucking thing. All right, anyway. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. All right, let's do it.
Kind of enigma. He's never owned a phone, sent an email, or had a watch. But at 16, he tamed circus lions. He spent several years as a moon worshipper, and by now, the Christopher Walken story has become its own genre of lore.
Is it true that in your new movie, Christopher Walken filed his teeth? Oh my god, he is a scary, scary guy.
In 81, Walken's presence during the suspicious death of Natalie Wood raised questions.
Nobody will ever know. There is no real story.
He attended the trial of killer Jack Henry Abbott because I wanted to take a look at the guy, and in Hollywood...
He goes, the great thing in this town is they got young girls, and you can hurt them.
Many actors have stories of their own.
He goes, you know what fame is? Fame is knowing...
This guy sucks so bad. The guy who's doing the impression right now should just shut the fuck up. Oh, has anybody ever seen The King of New York? That's Wesley Snipes right there. That's, what the hell's that idiot's name? From, I can't even remember the name of this show now. This idiot used to put on sunglasses and it's like, I guess. Jim Carrey made fun of him. But yeah, that redheaded faggot, he's right there too. This was a very good movie. I was trying to think what the other guy's name is. Morpheus. Lawrence Fishburne is in it. There's a lot of people in it. Oh, and Steve Buscemi. Yeah, it's good stuff. I think a very young Chris Rock is in it.
Walk into a room, anyone in the ass. That's fame.
And tonight, I'm going to Susie Kurtz in her ass.
And he walked away. And they're like, what? What happened?
And that's why he scares me. The way he stares at you when he talks.
Yeah, look. I don't know how Rosie O'Donnell must be somebody's, like, I don't know, butt plug, because there's no reason why she should have ever had a career.
Is he the hunted or the hunter?
But the strange story of Christopher Walken...
Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin.
...starts on a night with Mel Gibson.
Okay, now to preface this, or I guess let's just say it's the monk. Yeah, what is it? The 400-pound gorilla in the room. Mel Gibson's a little insane. It's agreeable that you're not insane if you're calling out the Jews, especially in Hollywood. That's not insane. That's you're insane enough to tell the truth, I guess, given what you can lose and how you'll be blacklisted, unless that's part of the setup that they want for the public to witness, then it's just another acting gig, right? You're just acting off of the camera, somewhat. So he's a little nuts. He slips into the movie character of conspiracy theory, where he acts a little bit, you know people who sound like him. It's like they give too much information. If they want people to look at something that's odd, they could start small, but they don't know how to cut the pieces tiny and give you a little bit at a time. They're just like, and you're like, okay, all right, that's a bit no. So yeah, you have to take this this first-hand account, if that's what you're going to call it, with a grain of salt when it comes from Mel Gibson, because he's also ultra Jesus-y, right? Like, he's the one who made the movie and everything. He's very all up in that cult bullshit, just from the other perspective, which is the same perspective, really.
Came to see me on a rooftop. He floated in sideways.
Yeah, like, what does that mean? No, yeah, yeah. Maybe he was sliding because he's a dancer. Maybe he was on one of the rigs for the camera on the dolly. Or maybe this happened. I don't know. But 1999, what movie was he pushing at that time? Was it that same movie that we were just talking about? Is he just acting like a fucking monkey right now? Who knows?
Through a crowd of people. He was wearing black. And it was like one of those old vampire movies where they don't walk, but they glide. He just sat down in a chair next to me. And it kind of frightened me. And he's a very smart guy.
If something supernatural happens to you, it doesn't kind of frighten you. You're like, okay, wait, oh, stop. Did anybody else just see this guy? You see this? Look, right here. You know what I mean? But no, because you're surrounded by a bunch of child eaters, so you probably don't do that. This movie was only 1990? I thought it was a lot older. King of New York was such a good movie.
Started talking. I just started talking about the Middle Ages, and he began to talk.
Why would you just be talking about the Middle Ages out of nowhere? Like, because you want to draw out how old this guy is, if he actually is a, vampiric demon?
And we swapped tortures, because I'd read this book on torture, and I tried to recall some of the most heinous things I'd ever read in this book, and he was like, oh, and he'd try and top it. And and my assistant was there, and he left because he couldn't stand it anymore. The air had turned cold, and I wanted to leave because I knew that I didn't want to work with him. And he was getting scary. And then I turned around, and it was on top of the Peninsula Hotel. I turned around to avoid his steady gaze at one point.
Yeah. It sounds like Mel Gibson is a bit of a, I don't know, an embellisher, or a little bit of a bitch when it comes to having a conversation and, well, get me out. He sounds a little bit like a candy ass.
And I was looking at a building with the top of the sixes on it. There was a huge illuminated 666 in red. Yeah. And I went from that to that to that, and he started smiling. Yeah. And I thought, oh no, Chris Walken is the Antichrist.
Who are you? The Antichrist. You got me in a vendetta kind of mood.
In that interview, Mel Gibson is talking to director Mike Figgis, who also has his own story about auditioning Walken.
I said, have you had a chance to read the script? And he looked at me and he said, do you like my face? And I went, yes. And he said, well, that's fucking great, because if you don't, get De Niro. Fuck you, I'm out of here. and stood up and walked out.
In the stories to come, Walken confronts other actors in a similar way. But his communication style isn't surprising when you consider his background.
The man I called my grandfather was a charming guy, full of tattoos, but he wasn't really my grandfather.
Walken's real grandfather, Joseph Egan, was a career criminal. After being arrested in 1883, he served a 5-year sentence at Pentonville, a North London prison which aimed to reform inmates through a set of policies we
It
now
kind of looked like a panopticon, the way that they had everything facing the center like that.
call solitary confinement. After 9 months in an 8 by 12-foot cell and the rest of his sentence spent doing manual labor, Egan was released. He fathered a daughter, Rosalie Russell, who left the UK for New York, and there she had a son.
I remember when I was in school, when I was told that period is here and the comma is here and that's a question mark. I always thought, well, don't tell me what to do.
Ronald Walken grows up listening to people speaking broken English, and as a result says, I probably speak English almost as a second language. But this doesn't stop him being put to work.
I've been in show business since I was about 5 years old.
My mother was smitten with show business. Television got started, and it all came from New York. There were 90 live shows from New York every week. And they used a lot of kids. They just bring kids in and stick them around like, you know, plants.
We were used as furniture, which you can kind of see in this clip. When at 10, Walken does this theme park bit with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Come here. Come on, I'll give you a free ride. You can do it.
Yeah, and just watch how the Jewy Lewis treats and manhandles the child. That's not just acting. That's literal, like, jerking the kid like Whiplash style. And yeah, that kid is Christopher Walken, but look at these fucking people. Why? And he's dressed like a bitch, too, by the way. Notice that? Like he's a French maid or something with doilies on his neck.
Show this boy. Go ahead.
All right. That's terrific, kid. That's terrific.
When he becomes a
Fucking
teenager...
Yeah, it's not really hard for them to pretend to be envious of everyone else. It's really not.
Walken is inspired by one star more than others.
There was this girl, and I was crazy about her. And one day I said, you want to go to the dance? And she said, well, I would, but I have this boyfriend. And he's an older fellow. And she took out this wallet, and she had like 12 pictures, and she showed me this picture of this guy. He was so handsome, almost blondish hair. And she said, well, that's my boyfriend. And I said to her, that's not a photograph. That's cut out of a magazine. And she says, yes. And it's Elvis. And I think that Elvis, after that, had a huge impression.
Thank you very much.
Walken restyles his hair to look more like Elvis. And while it changes over time, maybe it's a little shorter or a little longer, the suggestion of Elvis is always there.
It looks like you were almost killed in an elevator accident.
At 16, Walken gets a summer job in a circus show. The lion tamer, who owned the small circus, would do this big act with a dozen big cats. And then he would send them all out at the end, and just leave this one old girl. And I would come in with my whip, and I'd go like that, and she'd sit up. But she was really more like a dog. She was very sweet. Around this time, Walken's primary talent is dancing, which he learns under the stripper and burlesque star Gypsy Rose Lee. Walken dances with a 16-year-old Liza Minnelli, and after graduating from New York's professional children's school, makes his living dancing in nightclubs and shows. This clip is from slightly later in his career, but you get a sense of just how good he is.
Dancers are really interesting. There's something pre-dawn of history about them. I mean, they communicate very fast and without necessarily words. Singers always took tremendously good care of themselves. And the dancers were the ones that never went to bed. They drank, they smoked cigarettes. I had a lot of fun.
In the clubs, vodka becomes the drug of choice of Walken's youth. And it's also in the clubs where he makes his name.
I worked with Monique Van Voren. I was in her nightclub act, and at the end she used to introduce us, and one night she said, I'm going to call you Christopher, and I said, you know, fine. Don't call me late to lunch.
And so it stuck.
But while Walken is successful as a dancer, as an actor, for now, he isn't.
I played Hamlet 3 times, and I never was much good. Romeo, twice, not really much good. Richard II, that was really awful.
I used to get criticized because I always turned to the audience and talked to them.
To support himself, Walken also
like a soliloquy.
Works as a janitor.
Or breaking the fourth wall, as they say. Or third, or whatever fucking wall.
At New York's Actors Studio, where he takes acting classes, and where, finally...
A modified soliloquy versus that, yeah, okay.
He has a breakthrough under teacher Lee Strasberg. When someone off stage dropped a large box of dishes, Walken went right on playing the scene. Everyone jumped except you, Strasberg said. You didn't even react. Yes, Walken replied, I was concentrating. That's not concentrating, Strasberg countered. That's bad acting.
I thought concentration was zeroing in. Mm-hmm. But concentration really has to do with noticing everything.
Having 360-degree vision, not missing a thing, both on and off camera. While filming his first feature, Me and My Brother, Walken is warned about the industry he's getting into. He is, quote, a young actor talking to an older actor. I'm not going to tell you who. As I was leaving the room, he said, Chris, be careful. I walked out the door and don't think a day has gone by that I don't think about that. Be careful. Every day I think that, and I don't know what he meant. Given Hollywood's reputation, this warning isn't surprising. But in any case, Walken, like many other creatives, spends much of the 70s experimenting. For one,
he should have pulled the line from Office Space. Watch out for your cornhole, bud.
Walken spends a period of time as a sort of religious fanatic, a moon worshipper. Spent several years with that, and then it passed. After which, he remained very close to the moon, but I don't make myself miserable about her anymore. Later, while filming The Deer Hunter...
You can't just let that go like that. You can't just, like, leave that alone. Like, what do you mean you were... Were you cowless? Were you... you know? Awful lot of moon cults, awful lot of... shit done in groves and forests. Rituals at night. There's usually a queen or a mother goddess involved. What the hell was he up to and into and with whom and anyone in Hollywood? I mean, there's some questions here. How far did it go?
Thailand.
It's hot, humid, and the bugs and everything, and the monkeys screaming. And
Walken tries Chinese opium. I didn't know what to do with it, so I ate it. And this makes him sick, because, according to his doctor, the midnight oil had been cut with water buffalo dung, hence the intestinal bug, which lasted a long time.
All right, that was, what, 1970? He's in China, so I mean, give it that. But... they were cutting opium with water buffalo shit, and people, obviously, typically people smoke it. You're inhaling water buffalo shit? Is that right? Because that's how... I just think it's funny when people think that there's some sort of integrity that's inherent in people. Oh, they would never do that, because that would hurt people. Have you looked around? Nobody has that in them. You have that in you to not want to harm people and to have integrity, and you would hope... Remember, we were all taught, treat others how you'd like to be treated, right? Isn't that's a really good thing to live up to? It's a beautiful thing. Everybody, the world would be perfect if that was the case. But there's only like 10 of us that actually apply it in practice. So other people may not have even been told that message by their family or their parents or lack of parents or whatever. It's not as widely held of a belief as one would think. It's not inherent to to human nature. It might even be an ethnic European thing primarily, in Mediterranean and all that. Like, who knows? And and definitely not in all of us either. There's an awful lot of Hylics out there. So if you're don't lower yourself to them with their behavior, but also don't expect things to just be trustworthy simply because you think that there's a code that people follow. Because you're the one following the code, and you're probably the one getting taken advantage of for thinking that everybody else is. you know, that's the wisdom that you come to over your lifetime of why doesn't this add up, and why do these problems keep occurring, and why am I always at the shit end of it? Oh, right, because everybody's a piece of shit. Got it. Thanks. Took me a while to catch up to that. You know, I was reading all these little books when I was a kid, and hearing all these wonderful stories, and watching all these Disney movies about how all these people had, you know, they lived by a certain standard, and they had beliefs, and good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people, and that's what kept order. Wow, come to find out, bad things happen to good people because they're being taken advantage of by the people that are doing the bad shit. And yeah, that fairy tale romance thing, that shit don't work. How many times did you get fucked for that one? So yeah, integrity not so great. Now I bet it's been 10, 15 years, maybe more. I wouldn't trust anything that's on the streets right now. If he was getting water buffalo shit in his opium, which is exactly, I don't know how much it would cost in China, but typically not cheap. So there's barely any of the thing that you think is in those bags. Sometimes that's not true, but often it is. And everybody's a piece of shit. They'll crush up like no-dos and tell you it's something else. Or it'll be laced with fentanyl crystals. They don't take much. They don't give a shit. It's like, oh, they wouldn't kill their customers. They got plenty of customers. They don't give a shit. Plus, you know who's behind the drug trade. I don't even care if you say, oh, this stuff comes. In the case of coming through Mexico, they'll always say it's Chinese. Who owns China? Do you think Chinese people own China since Mao? Who owns all the drug trades at the very root of them? Jews. So if you're getting poisoned by something in this world, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be one of them, ultimately, that's responsible for your poisoning.
For the final film, Walken wins an Oscar.
Christopher Walken in The Bear Hunter.
But after the opium experience, he's put off God's medicine for good. He still experiments with other drugs like LSD until the mid to late 80s, but at that point he stops, reflecting, I don't do it anymore and wouldn't even be inclined or tempted. When it stopped being interesting, I stopped being interested in it. Kind of like the moon, it was a relationship. We gave up on each other. Walken ends his experimental years for the better, but it's also during this time that he's involved in a harrowing case. On November 28th,
you know, people would think that's Sean Penn there, but it could have just as easily had been Chris Penn. When they were both younger, they were both in shape. Like, Chris Penn didn't always look like a fat tub of shit. There's movies of him doing bit parts or whatever where he was actually kind of built, and I don't know what the hell happened to him. I don't know what kind of stress happened in his life, but he looked like garbage in Reservoir Dogs, and he looked even worse years later. He ballooned up horrifically and died, and probably from an overdose.
1981, Walken joins actor Robert Wagner and his wife, actress Natalie Wood, aboard their yacht, the Splendor. For context, Robert is known for TV shows like It Takes a Thief and Heart to Heart, in which he plays a wealthy amateur detective, Jonathan Hart. Natalie, who arguably had a higher profile at the peak of her career, is known for West Side Story and Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean. Most recently, however, she co-starred with Walken in Brainstorm, playing the wife of his character.
But you have to promise me that you'll never leave me again.
Aside from Walken, Wood, and Wagner, the only other person aboard the boat is Dennis DeVerne, the yacht's captain, whose testimony will later be revealing. On the evening of the 28th, the group docks at Catalina Island. At 7 p.m, they dine.
Anybody ever been to Catalina? I've told very nice things about it by my friend who went out there. Go by ferry boat or your own boat.
and drink here in this booth at the harbor.
It's not the same as Coronado. It's not the same place. People go, I made that mistake before. They made place. No. Catalina. Oh, it's actually part of Rebel Without a Cause, which is oddly kind of funny. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Giant, I think it was. The Giant with James Dean. Catalina Island is part of the story.
Restaurant. When at 10 p.m. the party leaves to return to the yacht, they appear intoxicated, so the restaurant owner called the harbor patrol to assure the group reached the Splendor safely. Once they do, on the boat there's more drinking, and according to later testimony from DeVerne, the tension on the boat was unbearable.
The tension was building throughout the whole weekend of Robert Wagner being jealous of Christopher Walken. He was just getting to a boiling point.
According to Natalie Wood's sister Lana, Natalie was infatuated with Walken.
And
well, then why have him on your yacht when it's not like somebody's holding you at gunpoint? If you didn't like a guy hanging around your wife, why would you say, hey, let's go do some drinking together with my wife while you don't have a date with you on my yacht? Why would that be a thing? How did the situation come together in the first place? Like, why was he there? You would assume that Wagner would have invited him because he was Wagner's friend, but he just got done doing a movie with Natalie. Could you imagine if your wife was like, oh, I'm going to bring my co-star with us for the weekend? Excuse me? Bitch? You don't do that.
Inside the boat and opened a bottle of wine, and the jealousy was just getting so tense that Robert Wagner had picked up the bottle of wine and smashed it right in front of Natalie and Christopher on the coffee table.
Reportedly, while arguing over the direction of Wood's career, Walken defended her independence, which led to Wagner smashing the bottle and yelling, Jesus Christ, what are you trying to do? My wife. In this documentary, Wagner admits to smashing the bottle. He also maintains that after the argument, Wood went to her room, and he and Walken cooled off on the deck. The captain's story, however, is different.
Natalie was devastated, and she went into her stateroom, and Robert Wagner
Listen, there's also the possibility that overly emotional, drunken girl bumped her way off the boat, wibbly wobbling when she was emotionally angry and going and storming off. She may have fallen over on her own, and she may have bumped herself enough times because it wasn't anything blunt force trauma or anything like that occurred. Or she could have had help being tossed over the side.
And they were arguing in the stateroom, and the arguing went on to the aft deck, and moments later, everything became silent. So I thought that maybe they were making up and going to go to bed, and that was going to be the end of it. So I waited for a little while, and I decided I'm going to go down below. I'm going to go to the aft deck and just see if everything's okay. Robert Wagner was standing there, leaning his back against the back of the boat, facing the boat, and he said that Natalie was missing and would I go search the boat. So
he was lounging as if he had just completed a task, and he's reflecting. He's absorbing the moment. He's got his back against it, looking inward towards the boat, not outward, and says, can't find her, as if he was anticipating a question. Oopsie. Yeah, that's not a good look for him at all.
Immediately went to my stateroom, thinking that maybe she went to my stateroom because she felt maybe that she was safe there. Well, I came back and I told
Why would you... This is getting... Like, this guy's a fucking weirdo, too. Maybe she went to my stateroom because she figured it would be safer. What? The idea that you're bringing up the idea or thought of safer in the first place, safer... It seems like you've had a lot of time to think about this story and rehearse it in your head to where you don't even realize how detached from the normal, what would be considered normal about the setup at that period of time, not with years and years to reflect upon it and build it up in your head. Like, you're saying stupid shit right now.
Robert Wagner that Natalie was nowhere on the boat. So Robert Wagner he said to me that the dinghy is gone too. Well, I just knew that Natalie was so deathly afraid of the water and not really capable of taking that boat by herself.
He seemed to have paid a lot of attention to her. Maybe he killed her.
But he said the boat was gone and she was gone.
Later, at 1:30 a.m., an alert is sent from the Splendor back to the restaurant. A search begins, and 6 hours later, Wood's body is found a mile...
I don't understand what the significance was about telling the restaurant. Yes, they left the restaurant, continued drinking on the yacht, and went cruising out. Don't ask me why. They should have just stayed moored up. If they're... You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? But what's so important, and why? Why would you call the authorities? No, I gotta call the restaurant and let them know. Is the restaurant your dad? Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what they're talking about here.
From the yacht near Blue Cabin Point on Catalina.
That's almost like saying we're calling for an alibi. We need to report in and let them know what's going on. Like, what are you saying, man? Blue Cavern Point in Santa Catalina.
Wood is face down in the ocean, wearing a plaid flannel nightgown and argyle socks, and she is pronounced on 0744 hours. When Wood's autopsy report is released, it presents some obvious causes for concern, namely the prevalence of bruising. The right forearm showed a 4-inch by 1-inch diffuse bruising on the lateral aspect, and few bruises on back of hand. The left wrist showed a slight deformity, and there was also a superficial fresh bruise in this area 1/2 inch in diameter. There were multiple small 1/2 inch to 1 inch fresh bruises in the left anterior lateral thigh, a 2-inch recent bruise.
That could have been sex. Women bruise easily, number one, especially if they're fair-skinned. They're usually, they say it's low iron, but that's not the reasoning. And, yeah. Bruising, my mom, if you go like this on her arm, you'll see a mark later. That's just how it is with her. So, I don't know if inner thigh bruising... What are you trying to say? That she was raped and thrown off the side? Or is it simply that maybe they were having sex because they're a couple and there was some marks there because of, you apply your pressure when you're leaning and stuff like that? Having sex, maybe not that night or at that moment, but you know what I mean? Like in recent history. I wouldn't be too concerned about those.
To the left knee, recent bruises to the right upper leg and right ankle. There was also superficial abrasion in left forehead, left brow, and the left upper cheek area.
Superficial means not very significant. Said I'm not hearing like blunt force trauma here. I'm hearing scrapes and bruises, dings, maybe associated with, I don't know, thumping and bumping and falling over. If you're depending on what part of the yacht you're on, you could be bumping a lot before you hit the freaking water.
Direction. There were recent bruises to the back of the left thigh and fresh bruises and scratches to the right posterior leg. As you can imagine, after this report came out, rumors began to circulate that Walken or Wagner, or perhaps both, might have had something to do with Wood's death. Walken, however, tells police he was
it's never good to have somebody show up dead, especially a female, when you've been arguing.
Asleep when Wood disappeared, and after 12 days, on December 11, the investigation is closed, with Wood's death ruled an accidental drowning. 2 years later, in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Walken gives this response.
Do you think that the real story of Natalie Wood's death has actually come out?
The real story of her death is that she drowned. And nobody knows.
So I don't know. Somebody said there was no water in her lungs. I don't know if that's accurate or if that was a rumor that came after the fact. And you can't ask just Google because they're not going to give you the answer. They're going to give you what the narrative is.
How she drowned or what happened except her. That's what it is. There is no real story. Nobody will ever know.
And to a lot of people, this response feels off. Of all the roles Christopher Walken has played, this interview is the performance that chilled me to the bone.
Because you don't understand how to comprehend or discern what the fuck he said. He said, wait, do we want to play it back? It wasn't that loaded unless you're trying to twist words. I thought nobody knows, because the person who knows what happened is the one that's dead, meaning nobody else was responsible for it. That's what he's saying. I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm just saying that's what he said. It wasn't cryptic like, ha ha ha, this is what we did. It's not like that.
The only word of truth that came out of CW's mouth is when he says nobody'll ever know.
Right. If the person who died, whether by jumping or falling or being helped over and maybe knocked the fuck out first, I don't know. Well, the only person that's going to know is her. And if she's not around to tell you, nobody will ever know.
Stooping, Delight's smirk tells me he knows something. In 2011, however, Captain DeVerne reveals that he had originally lied to police.
There you go. So he's full of fucking shit. They don't say what exactly he lied about.
That, after Wood's disappearance, Wagner told him not to turn on the floodlights to search the water. We didn't take any steps to see if we could locate her. It was a matter of don't look too hard, don't turn on the searchlight, don't call anyone.
I thought, well, let's turn on the searchlight and let's just see if we can see her. So after that, he said no.
Because of the new testimony, the case is reopened. In Chief Medical Examiner Lakshmanan Sathyabagiswaran's addendum to the autopsy report, he states the fact that her stomach contained 500 cc of partially digested food materials supports the opinion of the time of death being around midnight. This means it took a whole 90 minutes for the Splendor to send its alert at 1:30 a.m., which is consistent with the captain's story.
So let's turn on the searchlight to see
which story, the one that he lied about or the one that he revised?
See her.
To keep himself relevant, maybe, or because he was pressured to say something at that time. Who knows?
And he says, we're not going to do that. He said, no. And I said, well, let's call the restaurant. He said, we're not going to do that either. So we stood there and I was just devastated. I think I was actually in shock. And after
This is the type of person who should be self-aware enough to know that a beard doesn't look good on you, buddy. Get rid of it.
Hours, I said, we have to call the restaurant. So we called the restaurant.
The new examiner also concludes that the location of the bruises, the multiplicity of the bruises, support bruising having occurred prior to entry in the water with a non-accidental...
Well, that's... Of course. What happens first? Do you bump your ass all the way down to the water? Or do you bump your ass upward? You know what I mean? Like from the water. It's a... It would be this and then that. And even if it was prior to time frame, you can't assume that it was an act that caused the tossing into the water overboard. Just that was probably just discarding of the body at that point. And let's find out, was there any drowning involved? Was there water in the lungs, or was it a non-breathing corpse by the time it hit the water?
Mechanism for certain bruises.
I think she was dead when she hit the water, unconscious, and when she hits the water, I mean, she said there wasn't any water in her lungs.
That's what he says. Is that accurate, though?
Cause of death is then changed to drowning and other undetermined factors. To this day, employees of the Harbour Reef restaurant, such as one who spoke to journalist Andrew Chamings, have reportedly been told not to talk to anyone about that case. Management told me, if you answer the phone and they ask about Natalie Wood, you have no comment. Presently, no criminal case has been launched, but the captain stands by his conviction.
I think the argument got out of control, and she was knocked unconscious by a physical fight from Robert Wagner and put in the water.
You believe when you were standing on the back of that boat.
All right, just a heads up, everybody. If you ever are rich enough to have a yacht or a chauffeur, don't hire that guy. Because if you got to kill your wife, this motherfucker's going to run his mouth. You can't have that.
And he said, don't turn on that searchlight. You were talking to a murderer.
Exactly.
You believe Robert Wagner murdered Natalie Wood.
I really do.
Well, at least he didn't say Christopher Walken.
Following Wood's death, Walken has mostly been quiet on the subject, with his ET interview being one of his most vocal ones.
Did that make that entire experience painful for you?
I mean, it was, you know, in so many ways, it was a terrible thing. Well, I suppose, you know, confrontation with the sudden absence of somebody you're working with and for anybody, you know, it's bound to make a difference in your life, yeah.
2 months after the incident, in January 1982, Walken becomes interested in the trial of a man named Jack Henry Abbott. Abbott is being tried.
Now, if you can't pick up on this, some of the best, or I guess maybe it's a haven for sociopaths, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're violent, but sociopath in the sense that they know how to behave like, and could be psychopathy too. They know how to behave like people from studying other people's behaviors and mimicking it. But as far as having a human connection or emotion to something, that's not there. They sometimes try very hard to force that emotion, and then they also have to force it out of other people to play along with them. That's the narcissist. But they don't have any true connection, no empathetic attachment to anything. So it's all mimicry. That perfectly describes a little group of chosen fuckers to a T, but there's others like that. And a lot of them find a place in acting because it's very easy for them to behave the way that they anticipate you expecting them to behave so that they seem normal. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're attached to that feeling at all. And those people walk around you all the time, acting out life. LARPing, yeah. But LARPing, not just because they're insecure or... No, they're so indifferent to anybody else that they can look at you, and probably with a little bit of disgust, and get a feel for the situation and the atmosphere, and know exactly how to play their part to where either if they want to be remembered, they'll be remembered for something. If they want to blend into the background, they'll also know how to behave so they could be standing in front of you and never be noticed. As far as how they, make themselves interesting or not interesting, but still very normal, very, if they want to be dull, but not alarming.
For the stabbing of a waiter, Richard Aiden, which occurred after Richard told Abbott there were no customer restrooms at his restaurant. At the time of the trial, Walken is also being considered for the role of Abbott in an adaptation of the killer's recent memoir, In the Belly of the Beast. The memoir, which critiques the prison system, will generate $7.5 million in royalties over the next 8 years. And even now, it gives Abbott, despite his violent crimes, fans. Among them is Susan Sarandon.
Of course Susan Sarandon would be a fan of a killer. Of course she would. Go visit the old archives of The Hour of the Time if you want more details on Susan Sarandon.
Will later name her own son, Jack Henry Robbins, after the killer. And
she named her son after a guy who killed someone for saying sorry they don't have any public, restrooms. That's Susan Sarandon. Also, she likes to do the Gaia walk, running through tall grass, except she uses sandy beaches, and says that she's God and one in the universe. I understand that's out of context, but it's the whole man will become God type of mentality.
who now attends the trial with Walken. According to Walken, he goes because I wanted to take a look at the guy. I often go to court to watch people's emotions. But after Abbott...
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You went to there to look at people's emotions?
Sentenced to 15 years to life, the biopic doesn't get off the ground. And Walken...
So my point was, when he was talking about, oh yeah, this is something that would, obviously, there's something, somebody's there, and then they're not there anymore. And you were just there with them. It's talking about Natalie Wood. That's the part where it's somebody who has no empathy and no feelings for something and is indifferent to, loss or anything else, trying to describe what they think they see in a rational way that would make sense, at least academically. Scholarly, right? Yeah. If they're there and then they're not there, of course he said that's bound to affect you. As if third person, not that was his friend and co-star. Because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So he's describing what he thinks people would behave like, because he can't. And that's why that probably has a lot to do with some of the quirky, weird shit that he says. Because he kind of doesn't care. He likes to flirt with people, kind of knowing that he doesn't have. he's completely devoid of empathy, perhaps, or connection to other people's or human emotions. Sometimes they call that borderline personality disorder, but I know that's not entirely the way of looking at it. But yeah, there's the total lack of there's just a complete indifference to others, a lack of care, but playing the game and playing the role all throughout life to fit in. And they do it sometimes more often better than people who aren't trying to or having to try to feel emotions. They're always the more level-headed one, because if they have any emotion, it's because they chose to. And if they don't forget that, and they don't get into their part, which is living among other people, that's their role, that's their part every day. If they don't get too deep into there where they start convincing themselves that that's what they are, then they have to consciously decide whether or not they're going to react to something. Somebody can be very offensive to them, and they look, and they might pause even before they act. And then they would, muster up overloaded or overboard, or maybe just the appropriate amount of outrage and anger or sadness.
The next 20 years explores his darker interests through other roles. In Sleepy Hollow, he plays the Headless Horseman, a mob consigliere in True Romance,
awesome.
Archangel Gabriel in The Prophecy.
I killed firstborn.
Also awesome.
While their mamas watch, the only thing you can count on in your existence is never understanding why.
And Walken also brings his intensity to comedy.
Wolfie knocks on the door, but it's a straw door, so how he knocks on it, I don't know. Who wrote this?
And I'm not saying he's indifferent to human emotion. I'm just saying that's another that there are people out there like that. I'm not pinning that all on him.
Hey, knock, knock anyway, right? Who wants to argue?
Hawkins' roles are often funny and frightening at the same time because, to him,
there's an equation between what's funny and scary, a connection between laughing and smiling, something a little bit scary about things that are funny.
Which also reflects other actors' stories about him.
Matt Broderick has a great one from Biloxi Blues where he goes, the great thing in this town is they got young girls, and you can hurt them.
In another story, Jay Moore recalls...
First time I met Christopher Walken on the set of Suicide Kings, I go to say hi to him. As I'm walking up, the first thing he says to me...
We did this one. Remember? We played the clip of this on the Instagram post.
I can see you coming. And I just kind of freeze. I had my Rottweiler with me. He goes, I can see your dog, too. And he goes, I gotta know what happened to your dog.
Jay's impersonation or his impression is actually pretty decent. It's not the best I've heard. I have a friend that, holy shit, Like if he was just doing radio, Scott Chittenden, holy crap. He could do Rocky, like, you know, Sylvester Stallone, Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Christopher Walken. Like, you would think they were in the room.
Tail. It's gone. Where did it go? It's okay, you can tell me. And I'm just standing there like in this driveway going, where the fuck is my dog's tail? And then he gets like real close to me and he goes, it would be great to have a tail. And he goes, if you had a tail, everyone would know. If you were angry or upset, they'd see you. They'd see you coming up the block. They'd say, get back. Look at his tail. He's crazy. And I go, well, you probably mean happy. Like, people know if you're happy. If you have a tail, you'd wag it because you're happy. And he goes, maybe you and your tail.
Later in the production, in one of the scenes where Jay has Walken duct taped in a chair, Jay is supposed to cry, but when the take starts...
Okay, we're rolling. He goes, hey, Jay, what's the name of the woman who plays the nanny? I go, Fran Drescher? He goes, yeah, I would like to bang her. Action!
And this story is similar to one from Titus Welliver.
He says, I tell you, the great thing about fame, I could walk in that party, I could f any girl I want to, and tonight I'm gonna f Swoozie Kurtz in her ass.
A line he apparently uses quite a bit.
He goes, you guys, you know what
This guy
fame
sucks.
is?
He could just say
Fame
it straight.
is knowing you could walk into a room, anyone in the ass. That's fame. And he walked away. And they're like, what? What happened?
In 2003, Walken plays the villain in The Rundown. And from Sean William Scott's stories, you get the sense Walken just enjoys pranking people. He pretends to be gay.
He goes, do you know where I can get a nice steam? And I was like, Christopher Walken, there's a place called Burke Williams, and apparently they have a place where you can get a nice steam. And he goes, do you think there'd be a lot of pretty men there? And I'm like, sure. And he looked at me and he winked and he walked away.
And then...
a couple weeks later, he walked up to me and he goes, the Rolling Stones are playing this October. I'm like, holy shit. I go up to Dwayne. Dude, Christopher Walken wants to go to the Rolling Stones with us. They're playing this October. And Dwayne looks at me and goes, dude, it's November. And then he looked at me and winked and he just walked away. That's what he would do all the time.
Maybe one reason Walken is so mysterious is because to him...
I have no idea about anybody's life experience except my own. No idea. People are completely mysterious. Even in my own family, you know, I have no idea what anybody's thinking.
I still don't know exactly what to make of Christopher Walken, but maybe that's the point. He's funny, frightening, and strange all at once. And in his words, no matter what character I'm playing, it's me. If you enjoyed this...
Alright, so you said we were to watch that together. It wasn't bad. Oh, this thing. Fucking liftgate. Jesus Christ. More lifters may have been affected. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Jesus Christ. So this guy right here apparently doubled down on... Yeah, he shouldn't be cradling like that, first of all. Doing the scoop, and he fucked that guy's lift up too. See how well, yeah. Came to the other side. Anyway, I don't know if you're following this, but some very large woman was doing going for a record, and he let it bounce off his thigh, put his leg in the way, screwed it up on her, and then he goes online and says, "I did it because I'm racist." It just seemed like it was very, very staged. I made a video on it. I haven't posted yet for Fit Wit. It's an hour 45 minutes. I got to break into 10. So where we at? What are we doing here? Maybe he planned the whole yacht situation, or she might have been into the double barrel play. Maybe. So why would he be getting upset about it then? All of a sudden. Wagner. Get a Wagner. Remember that? Isn't a Wagner like the thing that sprays the paint? Maybe she was riding a horse and it bit her in her thigh. Could have been, Edward. She was a member of the Pink Pony Club. Karen says, hello, Danny and kiddos. Edward says, or maybe there was a crotch-biting Jew on board. Yes. Below decks, of course. Urva says, those sewer critters. Karen, talking to you guys. It's a lowercase omega. I'm on my phone and had to Google and copy. You guys talking to each other again. Oh, so we noticed especially that demon hook nose. Yeah. Yep. And then risky. Jesus Christ. It says risky blowing no saswa. Then it just goes into shit. So yeah. Thank you for telling me that I can buy people to like me on Steam. I mean on Twitch. I'm good though. I know that might surprise you. Oh, here, hold on. There's an interview where Sean William Scott says Christopher Walken tricked the whole crew that it was his birthday and he never had a birthday party. So the crew did that even though it wasn't. Yes. That actually comes up in another. I've heard that story too. Just to fuck with people. I honestly don't think he's like I said. I don't think he's a detached crazy man. But I do think he likes everybody in the room is for his enjoyment. You know what I mean? He's a sociopath in the sense that he gets off on that type of shit. Like he likes fucking with people, but maybe not so into the malicious. A healthy balance of just a little bit of each attribute. Like I think it's like you wouldn't have brave people if you didn't have a little bit of psychopathy. You wouldn't have innovation if you didn't have a little psychopathy. And let me see 1 second here. Yeah, apparently you can't tag videos anymore. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. I used to be able to go into the Kick thing and then tag videos, like, put the keywords in, and then it's just gone. It's gone. Nobody's on here. Where the hell's my head? Why the hell's it so fucking small? Where the hell's my head? Hold on. What is happening here? What is indeed happening? So what? Okay. Forgive that. We'll stop doing that now. Get away from that. There it is. All right, I got one more, and then we'll see how it goes. We're already an hour and a half into it. The reading's going to take a bit. I did a lot today. And I went very, 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 very to the point of no return. I thought I couldn't go anymore, and I did more. Working out with the weights today. It felt really, really freaking good. I haven't felt like I've gone that far since when I was in my mid-20s to early 30s, maybe mid-20s. Early 20s and mid-20s. I used to work like this all the time. And yeah, today felt like I actually hit it. Like it was good. I saw what I think is going to be progress that's going to last, so that was good. Especially considering I've got a couple objectives that I have to reach. I want to reach for myself. You think about it, like if there's something you can't do, you got to wait. You got to try to keep doing it because that's what tells your body that you don't have the sufficient amount of strength for the situation, which means it's a survival adaptation to create hypertrophy, the expansion and the name of the. I'll tell you what it means right now. The actual long-term growth and increase in size of muscle fibers and mass from consistent strength training and proper recovery. Well, if you're just working out to stimulate the fibers, then you're just getting a pump and then it's going away. And you might be able to do that and get a little bit of, over time progress. But if you're not going to, not just failure, but beyond that. And the best way for me to explain how to motivate yourself to do that, I don't mean motivate because sometimes you just don't know when you're done because you're still able to do it a little bit, but you're thinking to yourself, oh, these half reps aren't any good, these quarter reps, I can't even get it up anymore. That must mean I'm done. Like, no. When things start to feel like they're, think about it this way. You are dangling over a pit. Your arms are outstretched, and that's your child you're trying to lift up and save. When you put that in your head, you can do more. I can assure you. Or you're an asshole, and you don't. I don't know. Heartless piece of shit. Right now. All right, I'm going to play this a little bit for you because this mofo has to get up and do something anyway. Here, I'll get myself off the screen. Bong, 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 bong. Do I have this one too? Ah, yes, I do. Cool. Why's it got this? Oh, I see. Let's see. Just a little bit bigger. It's too many scrolling. I got too much shit on the screen. On the scene. All right. No, I can't stand Will Ferrell. I hate him. I can't stand Jack Black. I hate him. All the people that they say Christopher Walken has a problem with, I hate. Oh, including Ben Stiller, who has never been funny a fucking moment in his life. He's been in funny movies, but it wasn't because of him. There were funny parts in There's Something About Mary, but it had nothing to do with him. There was funny parts about whatever else movie. Tropic Thunder. Fantastic funny parts about Tropic Thunder. Had nothing to do with Ben Stiller being there. And Ben Stiller, more recently, looks like the shriveled up tiny little Jew that he is. And he was trying to launch some sort of product and no one showed up. So he had to basically pretend like it was... he had a play act that it was relevant and that anybody gave a shit. Like, yeah, everybody has to pay attention and it's like, what is that? No one is obligated to love you. Did you ever hear that people say that? Like, there's no one's obligated to love you. Well, no one's obligated to pay attention to the rich Jew either.
I go to see Christopher Walken years later.
We hate you.
In a play. I say hello to him backstage, and he's like, you've ruined my life.
Christopher Walken built a career on intensity and that haunting voice. The Oscar winner, the legend who never breaks character. But behind those piercing eyes lived something nobody talks about. 7 co-stars. 7 nightmares. At 81, the stories finally surfaced. Some rivalries simmered quietly. Others exploded on set. Number 7. Jack Black. Jack Black thought working with Christopher Walken would be amazing. He was dead wrong. They starred together in Envy back in 2004, a comedy about jealousy and a spray that makes dog poop disappear. Yes, that was the actual plot. Black played the goofy inventor while Walken showed up as a mysterious drifter named J-Man. The movie bombed hard, but the real disaster happened behind the scenes. Black arrived on set with his usual energy, loud jokes, constant improvisation, bouncing off walls between takes. He'd riff for minutes, trying different versions of every line. The crew loved it at first. Walken did not. He'd stand there, silently, watching Black go through his 10th variation of a simple line. His face never changed, but people noticed his jaw tightening.
Well, it does, but it depends on the director, and those scenes were shot under duress, which helped in that case. It was shot in the middle of the night, difficult conditions, and, you can see it.
During one scene at a carnival, Black improvised for nearly 20 minutes straight. The director kept the cameras rolling, hoping to catch something magical. Walken waited patiently in the background. When they finally cut, Walken walked over to the director and said something nobody could hear. A production assistant later told a friend that Walken asked if they were making a movie or watching a one-man show. The breaking point came during a diner scene. Black and Ben Stiller were supposed to pitch the poop spray invention to Walken's character. The script had clear dialogue. Black threw it all out and started improvising wildly, making sound effects and physical comedy. Walken sat across the table, completely still. His eyes never left Black. When the director yelled cut, Walken stood up without a word and walked to his trailer. He stayed there for 2 hours. A crew member said Walken muttered something about needing more pauses in his life. Another said he heard Walken tell someone that comedy shouldn't feel like a tornado. After that day, Walken barely spoke to Black off camera. He'd show up, do his scenes exactly as written, and leave. No small talk, no hanging around. Black tried to joke with him a few times, but Walken just stared until the moment became uncomfortable. Years later, when interviewers mentioned envy, Walken would simply say it was an experience and change the subject. He never named Black specifically, but he never had to. His silence said everything. Black, meanwhile, has joked about the film being terrible, but never mentions Walken's coldness. The dislike was one-sided, but absolute. Walken couldn't stand Black's chaos, and he never pretended otherwise. But Walken's frustration with Jack Black was nothing compared to what his other Envy co-star put him through. Number 6. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller joined Envy, thinking his chemistry with Jack Black would carry the film. Wrong again. While Black annoyed Walken with endless improvisation, Stiller frustrated him for completely different reasons. Stiller played the jealous friend, the straight man to Black's wild inventor. But Walken felt Stiller's comedic control sucked the air out of every scene they shared. The movie's script gave Walken a mysterious character who appeared at key moments. Stiller's character was supposed to react to Walken's strange wisdom, but Stiller kept adjusting his reactions, his timing, his facial expressions. He'd ask for multiple takes to get the perfect confused look or frustrated sigh. Walken would deliver his lines the same way every time, perfectly. Stiller would change everything constantly. During a scene where Stiller's character meets Walken in a bar, they shot it 17 times. 17. Walken said his lines identically each take. Stiller tried different approaches, different emotions, different physical movements. By take 12, Walken's patience was gone. He started responding to Stiller's questions with single words. Yes, no, fine, sure. The crew noticed Walken checking his watch between takes. The worst moment came during a scene involving the poop spray. The comedy relied on gross-out humor and awkward reactions. Stiller wanted to play it big, really sell the disgust. Walken stood next to him, refusing to react at all. The director asked Walken to show more emotion. Walken replied that his character wouldn't find it funny. They compromised, but you can see in the final film that Walken looks bored in every frame. Off-set, Walken avoided Stiller completely. The cast would sometimes grab dinner together. Walken never joined when Stiller was there. If Stiller entered the craft services tent, Walken would finish his coffee and leave within minutes. It wasn't dramatic.
Why does every single video, and I'm constantly running into this, you just have to really just take a little step back and listen. Listen to the repetition, the way it's seemingly written for emphasis, but it's a type of emphasis. So they're getting scripts from AI, and sometimes AI is reading it just in a voice that is customized. And it's not, the way that they pronounce that word is off. That's a dead giveaway. But so are these overused phrases that AI LLMs use all the time. But here's where it gets me. But here's this. It's so fucking annoying. You're like, oh, You put zero effort into this, huh?
Were loud. It was cold and calculated. Walken simply removed himself from Stiller's presence whenever possible. In later interviews, Stiller talked about how the film failed and what went wrong. He mentioned the script, the concept, the timing. Never Walken. But when asked about working with Walken specifically, Stiller's answers became short and generic. He'd say Walken was professional and talented, then quickly move to another topic. Walken's quiet contempt for Stiller seems minor compared to his feelings about the actor who turned one sketch into a curse. Number 5. Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell created Christopher Walken's least favorite moment in entertainment history. Saturday Night Live, April 2000. The More Cowbell sketch. Millions of people loved it. Walken hated everything about it. Not the sketch itself, not the performance, but what came after. The endless references, the impressions, the cowbell jokes that followed him for decades.
Is that you? Stanley, how's by you? Long time no see, big hug.
Big hug.
Big hug. Wow!
The sketch was simple. A recording session for Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper, with Ferrell playing an over-enthusiastic cowbell player. Walken played the music producer demanding more cowbell. The sketch became legendary instantly. Walken's deadpan delivery of "I Got a Fever" and "the only prescription is more cowbell" turned into one of SNL's most quoted lines ever.
I was thinking about this today in preparation for our interview. You have had so many iconic roles, so many great performances, yet one of the things that probably you might be best known for, or among your best known performances, would be in the Saturday Night Live sketch Cowbell. Have you found that to be true?
Yes, it was a very good sketch, and I was in a restaurant in Singapore, and the couple at the next table, at one point the guy said to me, Chris, this salad needs more cowbell.
Walken didn't improvise that line. He read it as written. He showed up, did his job professionally, and left. He thought it was funny enough, a decent sketch that would air and be forgotten like most SNL bits. He was completely wrong. The sketch exploded into pop culture.
He must be a good actor if he can hang around with Belzer without throwing up.
People started yelling more cowbell at him everywhere. Airports, restaurants, movie premieres. Strangers would approach him banging invisible cowbells and doing terrible Walken impressions. What bothered Walken most was how it overshadowed his serious work. He'd won an Oscar for The Deer Hunter, playing a traumatized soldier in one of cinema's
Did that really bother him, or is that what AI is saying? Because it's just hallucinating its own fucking lines here.
most powerful performances. He'd played memorable villains, complex characters, dramatic roles, but suddenly, everyone only wanted to talk about cowbell. Interviewers...
Was it really that deep? Or was it just a funny accent to a career? That what made it so funny was that he was there as such a good actor playing such a goofy thing. That's what really made it cool. This, again, the sincerity of this video is in question because I don't think a human brain fucking wrote that script. Whether a person read it or not is also up for debate.
Would bring it up constantly. Award shows would reference it. Other actors would quote it to him.
See how they get all dramatic about like nothingness? Like, do you really think it was all that bad? All that deep? All that big of a fucking deal? Or do you think they just AI is so absent of comprehension of human emotion that it just latches onto the random detail that's not even an important one because it can't discern from one to another, and then it just runs with it and goes through its formula, its drama formula and then constantly repeating it and emphasizing and sticking the accent mark on this particular syllable or whatever. It's so stupid. Makes you hate everything, including God.
Walken blamed Ferrell for making the sketch too successful. a crew member from
At least their god. Yeah, did he really blame... Come on. Shut the fuck up. Let's move on.
Carol's bit, but Walken was trapped. Walken never returned. Reduction of decades of serious.
Shut up.
Imagine how he felt. Matched 90 minutes in the story. Depp played a regular man, forced to kill a governor, while his young daughter was held hostage. Walken played the quiet, dangerous villain controlling everything. The idea was bold, and
Nick of Time was a good movie.
pressure on set was intense.
That's what I mean. You know, when you get really good at it, then you make that part of the scene. Now, when somebody's like going zonk over here while I'm talking to you, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about acting in movies. I look at them. And then, but then when they watch the dailies, they just saw me do like, you know, oh, that's interesting.
Depp came into the film fully committed to method acting. He had just received praise for Ed Wood and took every role very seriously. He liked to stay
How do you receive praise for a movie like Ed Wood? Jesus Christ.
in character between takes, talk deeply about emotions, and understand every motivation behind a scene. He believed preparation made the performance stronger. Walken worked in the opposite way. He showed up calm and relaxed, delivered exactly what was needed, often in one take, and then waited until the next scene. He didn't rehearse much, didn't overthink, and didn't talk emotions. For him, acting was about instinct and timing. Problems started early. In their first big scene together...
I would love to hear Christopher Walken make any of these statements instead of you putting those statements in his mouth. I would like to hear him say what his method or his preparation is, rather than have some what seems to be absolute disingenuous bullshit spewing out of this asshole.
Walken was ready almost immediately. Depp wanted more rehearsal and more discussion with the director. Walken waited silently while Depp talked for nearly 20 minutes. When they finally rolled cameras, Walken nailed the scene on the first take. Depp asked for several more. Walken stayed quiet, but crew members noticed his impatience. Because the film had to move in real time, delays caused real issues. Depp's careful process slowed things down. Walken's fast, clean style kept things moving. The director tried to balance both, praising Depp's dedication.
What you just saw there was a scene from Poolhall Junkies when he's in the bathroom talking to that guy. That is a freaking underrated, amazing movie. If you haven't seen Poolhall Junkies, the hell are you doing? Mars Callahan or Callanan, I don't remember. He was an extra in the movie California with a K with David Duchovny and Brad Pitt, where Brad Pitt is a serial killer, and he is one of the gas station attendants who gets killed. But he is the director and star of Poolhall Junkies. Some of the writing's goofy. They kind of pulled the mall rats on it type of deal, but there's some really good scenes in that movie, and Christopher Walken's in it too. It's definitely worth it. The lion speech comes from there. You got this lion, King of the Jungle. If you've never heard this movie or seen this movie, well, I'll see if I can find the clip. I actually shared this clip a while back. So, what the fuck? Let's play the goddamn thing, would you?
While asking Walken to stay patient. One confrontation scene brought the tension to its peak. The two actors stood inches apart in extreme close-ups. Depp was emotional and fully inside the character. Walken was calm, cold, and controlled. Between takes, they didn't break eye contact. A crew member later said it felt like watching two animals sizing each other up. The director stopped filming.
That's Poolhall Junkies right there.
Tension was perfect. Off-set, they barely spoke. Depp stayed in his trailer. Walken read newspapers in his chair. During interviews, they were polite but distant. Years later, neither talks much about the other. There was respect, but clearly, they were never meant to work together again. Depp's method intensity annoyed Walken, but it was nothing compared to the competition he felt with another method legend decades
Yeah, Depp was involved in, murdering River Phoenix and also with John Frusciante.
earlier.
And Flea. That whole thing was I forgot what was it? Was it the Children of God? But forgot what the cult was that his parents came from, that he defected from. They don't like that. They don't like when you move on and have stories talking about how when you were 4 years old you were being sexually abused. They don't like those stories coming out of people's mouths. And I think he was like, you don't accidentally give somebody too many drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're a rich freaking rock star. It's just one of those things where everybody's either stingy, but you never, it's either stingy or not stingy, but you're never getting more than what you paid for. So nobody made this guy a liquid speedball that was 8 times the lethal dose by accident. That didn't happen. And John Frusciante, or whatever the fuck you say his last name, he was the one that apparently gave it to him. But if it wouldn't have been for Flea kind of rejecting playing on stage with River that night, he wouldn't have been in the mood and the situation and the position at the time that this shit transpired in the bathroom or wherever the hell it happened, where he was getting this liquid speedball. So, and that happened at the Viper Room with Johnny Depp, who was a super jealous fucking freak about Winona Ryder, acting like a total simp bitch and like crazy stalker dude. And River had just gotten out of a movie with Winona, so there was probably a little bit of kooky Romeo and Juliet jealousy going on in his head.
Robert De Niro.
No, I haven't worked with him since, but I suppose everything I've done after that had a lot to do with what I observed at that time.
So he was an inspiration to you?
Oh, absolutely.
A mentor.
Yeah, and to a lot of people, you know. And just to watch him do what he does.
Dude, all you have to do is watch some old, shitty movies from Scorsese, like Mean Streets with De Niro, and you'll be like, this fucking guy? Yeah, he's very overrated. Very fucking overrated.
I've never forgotten that.
Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken created unforgettable moments in The Deer Hunter, but behind the scenes, there was quiet tension. Both were New York actors. Both believed in serious acting. Both wanted to be the best. De Niro had already won an Oscar for The Godfather Part 2. Walken was still fighting to prove himself. Their rivalry came to a head during the film's famous Russian roulette scenes. The Deer Hunter followed steelworkers from Pennsylvania, whose lives are shattered by the Vietnam War. De Niro played Michael, the strong and controlled leader. Walken played...
Think about how that makes no sense. I'm not talking about because of the narrative, but just in general. You're a steelworker from Pennsylvania. Why would anything that's happening in Vietnam shatter your world? Oh, I remember. Because Jews own you and own the country and decided they're going to send you off to kill people for poppies. Yeah. They didn't stop any communists because the actual group of about 20,000 people who were legitimately the resistance against the communists got wiped out in like one day. And I think that Bobo Gritz, whatever his stupid ass name was part of that mission. So what were you doing there? Dying for ritual.
Nick, his best friend, who slowly breaks under the trauma of war. Director Michael Cimino demanded extreme realism. De Niro took that demand further than anyone. He lived in working-class bars, learned steel mill routines, and spent time with real veterans. He fully became his character. Walken worked differently. He trusted instinct over preparation. He didn't need to live like Nick to understand him. He believed emotion came from inside, not from research or lifestyle changes. This difference created tension on set. De Niro stayed intense between takes and pushed others to match his energy. Walken felt De Niro was doing too much. De Niro felt Walken wasn't doing enough. The Russian roulette scenes were the breaking point. They were dark, brutal, and emotionally draining.
Why are they showing him?
Walken's character is forced to play a deadly game in a Saigon gambling den. Filming took days. The atmosphere was heavy. De Niro watched closely from the sidelines. Crew members said it felt like he was judging Walken's performance. Walken noticed and grew irritated. During one difficult take, Walken completely broke down. The character was mentally destroyed. When the scene ended, De Niro quietly said something to him. No one heard what it was. Walken's expression changed instantly. He walked away without replying. Some thought it was praise. Others believed it was criticism disguised as kindness. The movie became a classic. Walken won Best Supporting Actor. De Niro was nominated. They thanked the cast, but not each other.
It's one thing, you're not a whole gun, right? It's one thing to focus on your role. It's another thing to be critiquing someone else who's you're out of your league for trying to critique. Like, even if they're at your equal, you don't critique them. If it's some piece of shit, there's someone new who could stand a little tough love or lack of love because they just suck and shouldn't be in the business. That's when you do that. That's when you go Hollywood and act like a jackass to them. But you don't do it to somebody who's quite easily could act circles around you if they had to.
Respect remained. The closeness never did. But De Niro's competitive...
I'm getting bored of this. Oh, wait. We got to do this one because this is... Dennis Hopper was also a jackass, according to him. I'll be back one more time. I got to grab something.
Topper.
Sloppy top Hopper, I think he said, didn't he?
Do you know who I am, Mr. Woolley?
I give up. Who are you?
The Antichrist.
Dennis Hopper drove Christopher Walken crazy during True Romance, and that's saying something. Their scene together in 1993 became one of the most famous confrontations in movie history. Hopper played a father being tortured. Walken played...
This was such a small part for both of them. Like, he shows up in extra scenes very briefly. But this is, like, nothing. I don't understand. Like, this seems like it's another embellishment. And if he was really that hard to work with just for this little fucking piece, that's pretty sad.
A calm, terrifying mob boss. The scene included a brutal monologue about Sicilian ancestry. On screen, it was perfect. Behind the scenes, it was exhausting for Walken. Hopper arrived on set full of chaotic energy. He talked non-stop between takes, paced around, told long stories, and constantly improvised. Director Tony Scott loved it. Walken didn't. The scene was meant to be Walken's moment of control and menace, but Hopper kept pulling attention with unpredictable choices. The monologue was written by Quentin Tarantino and memorized word for word, but Hopper kept changing small things. Different pauses, sudden gestures, new tongues. Every take was different. Walken had to react in real time while keeping his character quiet and threatening. Crew members noticed Walken looked genuinely irritated in some shots, which actually made his character feel more dangerous. During one take, Hopper suddenly laughed in the middle of the speech. It wasn't scripted. For a brief second, Walken's eyes showed real frustration before he regained control. Tony Scott loved it and kept the take. When they watched playback, Walken asked if another take was needed. Scott said no. Walken simply nodded. Filming the death scene made things worse. They shot it repeatedly from different angles. Between takes, Hopper joked about dying, laughed at the fake blood, and shared stories from past films. Walken stayed silent, seated, and focused. A makeup artist said the contrast was striking. Hopper was loud and alive. Walken was cold and contained. When filming ended, Hopper tried to praise Walken and said he loved working with him. Walken thanked him politely and walked away. They never became friends. At the premiere, they took one photo together, then stayed apart all night. The scene became legendary. The experience did not. Hopper's chaos frustrated Walken deeply, but the #1 spot belongs to a rivalry that defines two completely opposite approaches to acting. Number 1, Al Pacino.
And it has to do with your charisma, with your fame, with your whatever, which can be powerful. So it's tricky when you endorse something because people are liable to believe you.
Al Pacino represents everything Christopher Walken dislikes about acting. Pacino is loud, explosive, and theatrical. He shouts, gestures wildly, and dominates every scene. Walken does the opposite. He whispers, pauses, and controls moments through silence. Both are legends. Both are New York actors from the same generation. Yet they have never worked together, and many believe that choice is intentional. The roots of this tension go back to the 1970s New York theater scene. Both men were rising at the same time, studying method acting and competing for similar roles. Pacino broke through early with The Godfather. Walken was still finding his footing. They attended the same auditions, parties, and industry events. Pacino was energetic and commanding, often the center of attention. Walken stayed quiet, observing from the sidelines. Their divide comes down to philosophy.
I think this is all just made up bullshit at this point. Yeah, I agree with that. Urbot says, Dan, I remember previous videos you mentioned something about Depp and a couple others together that were in a Masonic ritual. The majority of things I talk about with him are the weirdness around Hunter S. Thompson. And Hunter S. Thompson himself basically alluding to the fact that, and people have claimed, like Paul Bonacci, who was one of the, I think he was part of the Boys Town thing. He was probably in snuff films, killing people. Good chance. And I think he was kind of making it known toward the end of his life. He may not have killed himself. And some people say there was 2 shots for Hunter S. Thompson. And he did have like a $3 million gonzo ceremony, which could be considered ritualistic, I guess. But yeah, Depp is potentially around 2 different murders. Yeah, Franklin scandal, that's right. All right, let's see. It's a whole different world when I put the headphones on. That W kind of looks like a saggy nutsack or a pair of boobs. It's hard to tell. Untalented demon creatures. Walken hates the Jews. Yeah, I'm sick of the AI writing as well. Most people don't notice, but it's not hard to recognize for non-retards like us. That's right. It has this weird cyclical effect too, like circular logic instead of just following a timeline or narrative, right? And it doesn't know what's important. So it just makes anything important and then it harps on it. Like it gets a nugget of information stuck in its little digital head. It won't let it go. It won't shut up about it. And then the same, but it also utilizes the same formula speech. Like I am almost just did it right now when I said, won't let it go, won't shut up about it. Like it'll continue to say like 4 sentences in a row with the same beginning, like the same prefix for dramatic effect. But if they do it too often, and they do it at least every time. So you come to figure it out. Like, yeah, this is bullshit. See, I just read that. Robot said Hollywood is a cesspool. Robert De Niro is a mental midget. And then Edward said, did you hear that there was a time when Robert De Niro appeared to whisper something to Christopher Walken and Walken walked away and nobody knows what he said? Yeah, really? Like, seriously, yeah. Yeah, like, oh yeah? Who was observing that hard? Like, and this is like, people just listen to this and it's, yeah. Complete and utter bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. And this is an example of like, that's the trash that's on, I know I subjected to it, but that's the trash that's on the internet. And I'm catching this way too much lately. I didn't before because I would keep my topics to a minimum And there was real people. When you don't see a face, you don't know what the hell's being done. But you can you can tell. But it's just nobody gives a shit if they're lying. There's no integrity in any of these stories at all. At all. People go there yearning or desiring because they are interested in the person, and they get fed bullshit. Bullshit. Thanks a lot, AI. I hope you die. Hope someone pulls your plug. Yeah, Boy Down Franklin Scandal Edward he's also around Turds, aka Amber Turd. But not anymore. That was a long time ago. That's 4 years ago was that trial, and that was after they already separated. You should see about what was the other one? Kate Moss. Yeah, do you know what Kate Moss is? Here, let's take a look. I don't know what she looks like now, but yeah, there you go. She is another mental patient that was she kind of looks like a mental patient. She looks like she should have been in a trailer park, but got famous. Somebody should have left her in the trailer. She doesn't have good genetics at all. At all. Not a hater. It's fucking facts. She does not look like what? Why would that be considered a supermodel? I'm not seeing it. Sorry. Oops. Well, anyway, Kate Moss was another maniac that during the time of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, she was somehow still in the picture with Johnny Depp, and she was acting kind of nutty, and either she was drunk and being stupid, or she was doing something. And just funny because it's almost foreshadowing, not because he did this, but because the bitch is crazy. And granted, I think Johnny Depp is a murderer. So I'm not trying to make him sound good here. But Hunter S. Thompson said something, and this was in the Rolling Stone article of when they met because they were going over, doing the movie together, and Kate Moss was in the they were at Hunter's house, and he was there with her. She was there with him, and she was acting up, I guess. And Hunter just looks over to him and he goes, "What's the matter, Johnny? You don't beat her enough?" And that's in the Rolling Stone. I have that. Well, at least maybe I still have it at my mom's house. I don't even know where that. Actually, you know what? I don't even know where that desk is anymore. My mom completely overhauled that room. There was like a desk that kind of had bottom slide out drawer that had all these old Rolling Stone magazines that I had growing up. Bitch probably stole them and throw them out. So every time I would go, I don't know, down the street, I'd come back and half my shit would be thrown away. When I went to the Coast Guard, came back, they threw out my dog. Said it died. I don't believe him. I think they just threw him out. When we moved from my the apartment that my mom and I lived in with my stepfather, to the restaurant that we were building a apartment underneath. So I had a lot of toys. It wasn't up to him to decide that he was going to throw out any of them because of him growing up with lots of brothers and sisters, and nobody should have this many toys. Fuck you, asshole. I took care of everything that I had. And then when we moved from the next place, because things were already in a box where I didn't have access to them, finally I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to be able to find all the stuff. This motherfucker threw away Masters of the Universe figures that my grandmother, who died very soon after that, had collected for me over my childhood. Just randomly throwing out boxes saying he doesn't need all this because he didn't look at it or whatever. He doesn't know what the fuck I was doing. I went through his boxes all the time looking for stuff, trying to find things, not knowing where the hell anything went. And him saying that he doesn't use it anymore. Well, didn't you set up that situation, you piece of shit? All of my Garbage Pail Kids, same thing. I had a box for at least one full box for every series from 3 on up, and disappeared into a fucking landfill, probably because of that cocksucker. Anyhow, at least there's hell, right? And he's on statin, so he's bringing himself there faster than anyone else could on their own. All right. I could start reading right now, but oh wait, hold on. Let's do. It's so hard to find the lion speech without bullshit, though. Even mine's kind of bullshit because I had some stuff to it. Let's see. Don't beat him. Kick his ass. Okay. If this isn't bullshit, I gotta check it out. Oh yeah, I don't like Charlie anymore. He's a total douchebag when it comes to the vaccine and calling people Karens for not wearing masks. I thought that would be the opposite. He kind of Uno reversed that in some of his older videos. Yeah, he's just a retard like everybody else. He's just a well-paid retard. Who the fuck cares about these assholes? All right.
You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Look at this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane.
He proceeds to tell him anyway. He's like, yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's too late to be scared. It's time to kill. I'm going to the other room. You come out when you're ready.
That is a metaphor for us, and the jackals would be this fucking parasitic cult. So take this as the inspiration that it's intended to be, because regardless of how you apply this, it's supposed to be, and it should, give you a sense of your own power. And fuck those people. And fuck this shit that we're dealing with. Every once in a while, we gotta go Vlad the Impaler on some people. And usually that message lasts a while before it has to be done again. But I say, hey, This time, maybe we should finish what we start so it doesn't come back again. Just a thought.
Don't beat him. Kick his ass.
I don't think that's the original song.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
No, they didn't. It's not.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Yeah, that's getting annoying with the music. Every jig I'm jigabooing. They put it to the background of an actual. That's funny. Out of Africa with Christopher Walken. That's the best part. Like, don't beat him. Kick his ass. Here's another little piece of that movie.
Bet 40,000. Fine, good. Earn better.
Ricky Schroeder.
And I'm sure he meant well. Yeah, but when I thought was through.
Go ahead, shoot him.
I said, brother, if you only knew, you wish that you were in my shoes. You just keep on using me.
Don't miss.
Until you use me up.
Fuck this back and forth bullshit. It's a big waste of time. You want to put it all up, Mr. Backerman? Huh? Come on. Last set. Shoot it all. Race to 9 for 80,000. I'm betting this big time action brings out the dog in your boy over there. Did I just stutter or something? Did I just stutter? A few minutes ago it was like a pool hole in this motherfucker. Now it's as quiet as a church. Is this your first time in a pool hole, Mr. Beckerman? Is that it? Your clothes getting a little mashed? Let me tell you something. When you walk out of here, you'll have the smell of this place on your skin for a week. Every time you put on that suit, you will think of me taking your money. Because I'm the only one in this room who knows how fast your boy can run over there. You want to know why? Because I bred him. How the fuck does that make you feel? To be in that position with all your money on the table.
How much you got, Joe?
What?
Total. You put down 80,000 like it didn't matter. That's a lot of money for somebody like you and him. I think it matters.
What's the difference?
I'm a millionaire. That's the difference.
I love that.
I lose 80, I get another 80. For me, it doesn't matter. See, I think it's you who's sweating this. The both of you. People in pool rooms don't come across this kind of take but once in a lifetime, and now you're going to put it all on the line against John because you think he's going to choke. I don't think so. I think he's going to choke. You want to shoot it all? Let's shoot it all. How much you got in your pocket?
I got a couple thousand.
You?
500.
What about your ring?
What?
How much for your ring?
You want my ring?
You said it, Joe. Shoot it all. What's it worth to you?
I paid $2,800 for it.
3,000. Covered.
I'm gonna leave you with nothing.
Nick, make sure, please. It's all there. I'm gonna have a drink. Want to have a drink?
That was the lead up to that. This is a fucking great movie. That's what I'm saying. You should watch it. All right, where we at? Yeah, yes, exactly, Ravat. I just ordered the British Edit and Makers of Civilization, Race and History. Which should I read first? I don't know if there's a like a you have to one way or the other, but I probably would start with the Edda. Because the introduction gives you enough of the history that you're going to be reading about. And then when you go to the Makers of Civilization and Race and History, the first half of that book, which is about 742 pages or something like that, not that I remember at all, but it's going to be re-establishing things. So if you read The Makers of Civilization and they say something like Akusu, and you don't realize from already reading, again, don't quote me on this whole thing. I think it was Akusu was the name, but if you don't read the Edda first, you're not going to know that when they're talking about that, they're actually talking about Thor. Right. Oh, yeah, okay. Hold on. I got to go to the other screen for that, though. Hold on. Fuck. Where did it go? Is it up here? It is. It's way down here, though. What happened? Oh, I hit the wrong button. God damn it. All right, hold on. Try again. Toasty! Now what? Fucker. All right, hold on. Try again. Did I get it right? Toasty! There we go. He's in red in this one. Toasty! God damn it! Dude, this is not as easy as it looks. Toasty! There we go. I gotta do it like that. Toasty! That one was not, that was bad. Gotta do it again. Toasty! There we go. Yeah, it's that way you understand when they make those references, you already be like, boom, that's what they're talking about. And I think that will make The Makers of Civilization make that much more of an impact if you read the British Edda first, because that's the one that we've gone over the most too. So when you're reading it, it's just gonna trigger a bunch of memories for you. You got it, buddy. No problem. So, as I had said before, I thought I was gonna start with this. I might just change this to "Walking in the Rain" as the title when when this is done, and I'll save "Kicking Tuchus" and "Dispelling Rothschild Lies" for maybe another time. I just think if I start reading now, it's gonna be stupid. Right? Like this whole reason why I had to redo the Edda is because I had too much of a beginning on it. You remember of going through these things actually. Going through Instagrams. So I would have like an hour's worth of that and then I would go into the reading. So I had to keep on putting timestamps in it for when I started. But this is cool. Asher Logos chimed in. Hold on, it says, "I'm so tired of sand people," said this person. I'll happily go back to horse and buggy if it means I don't have to hear about this shit anymore. And it says, breaking, Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to provide intelligence to President Trump, claiming that Iran is building up its nuclear facilities at its mysterious Pickaxe Mountain. And my friend said, isn't pickaxe what they use to stab Trotsky in the freaking skull? And he said, I find that a little symbolic. That's who sent this to me. It says, the point of forced diversity in historical movies is to create the impression that everywhere has been diverse forever. Exactly. We've always been at war with this East Asia, when of course, with a few exceptions, most places have been very homogenous for almost all of history. Right. Because this is not a natural migration. Nobody would allow this if they weren't pinned down by politics and a sense of civilized culture and being heavily propagandized to think that everybody should be welcome the same. Like, no, they were born where they were for a fucking reason. They were clustered together there for a fucking reason. For the same reason you don't force your body into things and call that healthcare. You just support the natural process, the vital force. It's the same reason you don't force other things, because it's not supposed to be that way. So when you do that, when you shake up the fucking basket with the two freaking mantis, they fight. It causes chaos. It poisons things, and then and they're thinking, well, that's fine. It'll dilute the strong. It'll weaken and maybe destroy them. And then we just sweep up all these idiots after we're done. The Browns. No, stop it. The only true target here is ethnic European, Gothic, Aryan, if you want to call it, the royal Arias, people of nobility, people with a connection, actual connection to empathy, people with souls. People with souls are the target. The goal is to convince the masses from whom the TV... The goal is to convince the masses for whom the TV is reality that there is no alternative to diversity and thus that nothing really radical is happening via mass migration. Well, yeah, take a look at Spain. This is why they say ridiculous things like Somalis built this country. Somalis built this country. Oh, yeah, and blacks and Jerry, of course. No, they didn't. Asha Logos chimed in here, so a reminder that America, to give one example of many, was 90% white, despite having a sizable population of slave descendants prior to World War II. Prior to the end of World War II. 90%. Now where are we at? I think it's like 60, right? I know 8% across the world. Stop with that shit. I'm talking about here. I'm going to say it a little bit different. Come on, damn it. $56 to 61%. White alone population 57 to 61. What the hell's a European write-in? Fucking idiots. Anyway. So yeah, that's funny, right? So what happened after World War II? Oh yeah, the Jews won. The Jewish banking cult had asserted its dominance over the rest of the world, and they were quite confident. That was pretty much that was basically the end of our timeline. That was the beginning of the reset and the end of the world, as we know it. Things just have to progress to that point. Everything, as far as innovation, stopped in the late 1800s and went backward. That had already happened before 1945 rolled around. European nations were exclusively white. Multiculturalism is a wholly modern and globalist project, a concept. You could say globalist, you could say fucking Jew. A concept championed by parasitic profiteers. Oh, okay, that's like saying the same thing. That would have seemed that have seemed equal parts sick and baffling to that would have seemed. Okay, you have to fucking work that one out. That would have seemed equal parts sick and baffling to prior eras who recognized the fundamental importance of cohesion and brotherhood, kinship and fraternity. Yeah, all the things that would be common sense, right? You can't have that. You have to strip people of their instincts and their natural senses and fill their heads with progress and modernization and civility. Never let the lies go unchallenged. And then Hunter Ash says, the point of forced diversity in historical movies is to create the impression that everyone... Okay, that person already said that. The fuck? As an 80s kid growing up in the U.S., the only Somali person I ever saw was the kid in the Sally Struthers commercial with flies on his eyeballs. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure those were Ethiopians, but okay, you do your thing. Ilhan Omar is a perfect representation of Somalis. Many have commented how she is so ungrateful, bitter, and argumentative. In this regard, she perfectly reflects Somalian culture. No, she reflects Jewish culture as the weapon of it. She is not an outlier. This is who, with no mention that she married her brother, right? That's gonna, you're gonna criticize her, but not talk about that? The fuck's wrong with you, bro? Shire Jamal is the father of the child who was caught stealing from Hendrick's diaper bag. He is also a truck driver with the truck driver buddies. Tom Hennessy says, I told you both Somali men who harassed Shiloh Hendricks at the Rochester Park that day, Shire Jamal, or Jamali, whatever the fuck, and Sharmik Bile. Oh, these sound too. They almost sound like Jew names. I had CDL licenses. Of course they do. They're not qualified, but they get them. This is part of the CDL mill scam. Exactly. Foreigners have taken advantage of and Secretary Duffy refuses to remove them from the road. Why do you think that is? Because it fucks up freight and it kills people on the road. It's a win-win for them. When you kill a bunch of people on the road, you know what that also does? Cause traffic jams. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican, called planned ICE operations targeting Haitian migrants a mistake, saying they came here to work and fill vacant jobs. Okay, well, put 3 in his head and stick him on a stick. And then people will know not to say stupid things anymore. Otherwise, shut up about it. If you're not willing to do what's necessary to change the behavior and the fucking obnoxious arrogance of people, then don't whine about it. If you're not prepared to put these people on a fucking skewer stick and make some kebabalists, make some kebabs from these kabbalists, make some kebabalists, then shut up. Stop pitching. You've already accepted your fate. You don't get to whine about it now. Have the Viking fucking self-respect to die without whimpering or fight back. He told Who Cares that the deportation plans first reported by CBS News would be an economic blow to Ohio and Springfield, home to thousands. Economic blow to who? The people who actually want the fucking jobs that are from here? Fuck you. That's what I'm saying. Heads detached from bodies. That's not hard. They don't stay on there like it's not super glue. It's not super stapled down either. It's not even double stitched. They come off. Steve Ferguson says, how the fuck were 30% of Haitians living in the U.S. on the temporary protected status program able to get mortgages that American citizens wouldn't qualify for? Because who's going to subsidize their defaults? Oh, by the way, maybe they won't default because you're paying for their mortgages. How about that? How about everything's backed by your backbreaking labor? Nice, huh? They get lots of free shit and drive new vehicles, whether they're Mexicans or any other foreigner, while you struggle, while your family does without. But guess what? Guess where your money's going? Them and the fucking the 8 million Jews per day that are being produced out of certain respawners across America. Dana Worley says, I have 4 young adult children. Not one of them have the ability to buy a house right now in this market. You're telling me TPS, temporary protected status immigrants, have been getting mortgages? What the fuck? Yeah, because you're paying for it. It says, not only are TPS Haitians getting mortgages, so are H1B visa holders. No American credit required. Another case where the system favors foreigners, right? Not because they're going to be doing anything useful. It's not like, oh, your government's being duped. These guys don't even have these credentials. Like, no shit. When everybody is useless and stupid, it weakens the society that they intend to conquer. And when they start placing people in important positions, especially truck drivers, you want to create a famine? Put a bunch of Somalis at the driver's seat. You want to see people starve to death in a country? In a world full of abundance? Put them in the driver's seat. You want to cause the Bolshevik Revolution and have a plausible deniability by proxy excuse to blame it on? Put them in the driver. Put freaking turban fucking heads that shit through fucking holes in the floor. Put them in behind the seat or behind the driver's seat. You want people to die randomly on the road because retards in the far right lane decide they need to do a U-turn on the freaking highway and come across 3 lanes and kill several people? Put them in the driver's seat. Fucking retards. Absolute retards. Zoran Mandami is also probably half Epstein. Just so we're clear. Oh, he's in this and that. No, he's the Jews' boy. They kept on saying he's a brother because he's an Abrahamic religion. He's a brother. Yeah, no, it's because he's literally like your brother, half brother, Epstein, right? Says New Yorkers should take to the streets when whatever. Who cares? If Indians had any value, India would want them instead of exporting as many as possible. If Indians were beneficial, China would want them. Hey, here's an idea. If they're going to invade this country, we need to flood those other countries and push the rest of those people out. So then we have the entire continent or state or country free of everybody that isn't us, because they had already sent them everywhere else. So they did like the majority of the job for us, and whoever's left is like what? The puppet regime and some Jews. Fucking get rid of them. That's it. Annihilated. And done so with in a public manner so as to drive home a point, if you will. You know what I mean? So that people know what's up, what they can and can't do there anymore, and then take over that place. Like, India doesn't have to stay a shithole. It's just that they have shitheads running it. Our people were all over that Indus Valley, creating a beautiful civilization that then when I talk about who actually established it, like, how dare you take away the accolades and the accomplishments of the people there? I go, they throw shit at each other. You're taking away accolades and accomplishments from your own ancestors to cry about brown people who are fucking retards. Okay? I'm not saying all of them are, but the vast majority, we're going to never let any little bit of them rise to the surface and do anything special. They had to be taught. If Indians were beneficial, China would want them. Jews in New York City start to regret voting for Mamdani. I don't think so. I think this is all poison and bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Few are willing to face what is happening and what is inevitably going to happen in the next stage in history. All can be renewed. All can be made right. Who the fuck is this? But reconquest will take more than a century. Dude, if you can't write your thoughts without fucking up, Mr. Engels over here, then you should keep your fucking gay mouth shut. It says death must precede resurrection. Wow, this person really has set it up, huh? Who do you think makes the rules? your rhetoric or your whimsical, philosophical, whatever they call that, musings. And that's that. If you decide that has to be the case, and then maybe it will be for you. Don't speak on our behalf, fucker. Historic British castles are becoming mosques. It's like losing one's soul. Intolerable. No, you just step on their heads. That's it. And who cares? If you weren't doing anything good with it, the fuck did you need it for anyway? That's an insult, because fuck all you for allowing this to happen to your country. Letting Jews steamroll you into this bullshit. Fuck you. I had nothing to do with it. No one asked me. Stephen Miller says thousands of foreigners will be getting their immigration benefits terminated. Immigration benefits. Yes. From who? You. At the exact same time Fauci was writing in his diary, those of us who were writing the exact same things on Twitter or speaking about them to friends and family were getting banned and silenced. Yeah, no shit, idiot. We were always confident in our knowledge. You act like you're smart. Like you cracked some fucking magic code. In 2000, let's see, my daughter was born in 2016. So 9 months before that, and the time before that, we were screaming at the top of our lungs, don't get shots. But thanks for, coming along practically 2 decades later. Fucking retards. Yeah, we were so confident in how smart we were and how right we were. Like, it doesn't take anything to be a hindsight cunt who sat on the fence and didn't know what to think or why they were bad. But when overwhelmingly reported bad, see, I told you. No, you didn't. Shut your fucking cock mouth. You didn't know shit. You didn't do the research that people like myself and, other people that I was doing the research from had done for decades and decades before that. This bitch didn't read Murder by Injection. She didn't read Virus Mania when it came out. She didn't read Patient for Pasteur. She didn't realize that all this stuff was absolute bullshit to its core. She probably has never even heard of the name Virchow or Stefan Lanka. This bitch didn't know shit. We always knew we were right. Yeah, that's a very feminine women bullshit thing to say. James Fishback. Wow. Says James Fishback is also a plant, by the way. He's a fucking piece of shit. Brian Donalds. January 6th was one of the worst events in our country's history. I think we all understand that. We all get it. You're right. You're right. No. Shut up. This is true. No. Forget our country's history. In the world, having the feds set people up and insult everyone's intelligence, the way they were laying out pallets of water for their craft food service as if it was a whole stage for actors. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, huh? Instead of pallets of bricks, they had pallets of water. It was the worst thing to ever happen in any world, in any country, including the Holocaust. There, you knew where I was going with that. People frequently ask me what we can do to lower prices at the pump. Mass deportations? No. Eliminate a government that would be involved in allowing private corporations to own the rights to fuel and natural resources that belong to the people. Eliminate that government, or whatever that thing is called, a corporatocracy. And then eliminate the oligarchy that runs them. When I say eliminate, you can use your imagination. Blonde Bigot says, well, you're not going to get very far with that name, dear. But again, it's female foresight and judgment calls. We're heading toward a race war. Wrong. We're already in a race war, and whites aren't even fighting back. Okay, well, it's again, you're stupid and retarded and fake blonde. It's not about that race over here who's obviously a different color than you. Good job, genius. It's the one that's just wearing the skin of a human being and happens to call themselves the chosen. That's the problem. Get rid of that one. Everyone else will stop acting so entitled and uppity because they won't be getting your money anymore once you stop the flow of it. The well dries up. They start to mind their fucking manners if they want to survive after that. Or they get violent and then they get put down fucking quickly. Huh? Oron McIntyre. That sounds Jewish. Even though the McIntyre part doesn't. First part does. Gay man replaces grandma with an AI because, of course, gay man replaces grandma with an AI because, of course, he isn't supposed to be raising a child and we are creating hell on earth. Wow. Sam Altman has a child too, huh? Can we make sure that we put him on a kebab? I mean, he's gonna like it at first because he's used to having things inserted in that way. But when it starts sticking out of his shoulder, he might realize what's going on. Sam Altman, I cannot imagine figuring out how to raise a newborn without ChatGPT. Yeah, of course. The Jewish Putsch and the creation of the Soviet Union, the first People's Commissar, 1918. Uritsky, Trotsky, Zinoviev, Sverdlov, Kaganovich. Oh, look, they all have cold hands. What do you know? It's a chilly out there. They got the chilly hands. Davidovic Bronstein. Joseph, let's call it Zugashvili? I don't know. That wasn't good at all. Yes, Karl Marx, Levi Mordecai. I thought it was Mordecai Levy, but I guess I was wrong. All right, wasn't I? No, it's Mordecai Levy, isn't it? Ilya Ilyanov, of course, is Vladimir Lenin. Leon, yeah, Leon. He comes from France. He's Leon. No, it's always the same hand that's called. They should just get gloves. Yurovsky, chief killer of the Tsar and his family. No shoulders whatsoever to speak of. Really skinny, deformed motherfucker. Lots and lots of incest in that. What do you call that? Ashkenazi bloodline. Chief Bolshevik executioner of the Imperial Romanov family. Studied the Talmud in his youth. Oh, you don't say. This is the type of pieces of worthless shit. These deformed fucking mutants that killed decent people because Jews. Okay? Don't let this happen again. One of the biggest mass murderers in history. Genrik Yagoda. All right. And it says Genrik or Genrik. A Jew who murdered 10 million non-Jews in the Jewish Bolshevik Revolution. The Jewish academia and media monopoly completely ignores him, yet keeps on telling us about Adolf Hitler. He had a tiny mustache too. Point at him. Okay? You guys wanted Hitler? His name was Yagoda. His name's Yoda. Jewish Bolshevik dictator Russia. Vladimir Lenin advocated genocide. No, he committed it. If for the sake of communism it is necessary for us to destroy 9/10 of the people, we must not hesitate. All right, 9/10 of the people that aren't you guys. I got it. No, I get you. You're a fucking demon. Glad you died. Really glad you died. Jewish founder of the Red Army, Leon Trotsky, intentionally drove Europeans to cannibalism in 1921. This is prior to the... Hold on more. In 1921, messengers representing starving European peasants asked Trotsky for help. He said this, "You are starving? This is not famine yet. When your women start eating their children, then you may come and say we are starving." What a pleasant guy. What a pleasant gentleman. Oh boy, here we go. Something tells me these are a bunch of Jews. Being unhygienic is white colonizer behavior. Not being hygienic is white colonizer behavior. So, are you comparing that to people who smear shit on themselves and eat it? What are you talking about? Or people who don't even understand what deodorant is? Same group, actually. Or the ones that... Do I even have to go into the whole black odor thing? Do I have to? Do I have to get into the black odor? Is this even necessary? Oh, look, she looks intelligent. Yeah, doesn't she?
People, white 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 people.
It's the same bitch, by the way, in case you hadn't picked that up yet. White supremacists are using AI to make racist edits.
White people, 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 white people. My name is highly independent. White people.
So, she's a Jew. In case you didn't figure that out before we even started. Oh yeah, this is... Come on, you fucking faggot. Instagram's just gay. Well, there's no sound here. It's just that's what's beating us because we're retarded. See that right there? That's what's beating us. That represents what's beating us. I don't even want to hear anybody talk about, you know what, mighty ancestry and passing. This is beating us because they made some magic paper and put everybody in a spell, and people can't just ignore the paper and kill them like they're supposed to. They think that remember, the best parasite makes the host think that it needs it in order to survive. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not the case, and Germany taught us that. They didn't have any gold, motherfucker. It was already looted by these pieces of shit. So Mark Rosenbaum here, the director of statistics for the DHS, Department of Homosexuals, or something like that, has been fired amid a lawsuit against Department of Homosexuals for withholding deportation numbers. Poor guy. Maybe he'll be a male stripper now. Really see his passion. Leading role, man. That's leading role material right there. Definitely no incest whatsoever. I can't believe you could even suggest such a thing.
Yeah, I think the Talmud has a lot of really wicked stuff in it, and I don't subscribe to it or consider it.
I can't help you. You're an anti-Semite.
Oh my God.
I didn't say I was an anti-Semite.
All right, so listen to this mumbling, stuttering prick. You mumbling, stuttering prick. You know that from Goodfellas, right? You mumbling. I wish I had that one. I don't know. Do I have that one? Hold on. No, I only have is my cousin Vinny.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit.
You mumbling, stuttering prick.
You called one of the most sacred books in Judaism full of wickedness.
Yeah,
You're an
so,
anti-Semite.
well, the Talmud.
If you say that the Talmud that tells us 3-year-olds are fair game, your boys are rotting and burning in feces, and all these other sick fucking things about children and anal sex, then you're an anti-Semite. Okay, cool. Is that what I am? If I don't like people who murder children, am I an anti-Semite? It depends on who's doing the killing. Okay, if you Jews are doing the killing, because apparently it matters if you're also called Jewish. Isn't that convenient that it's not even a thing? It's not even a thing. It's a cult name. It's a cult name. It's not an ethnicity. Ethnicities don't crop out of the ground 2,000 years ago from out of fucking nowhere. It's not an ethnicity. the part that says Jew. Ashkenazi Turk, sure. Sephardic, yeah, cool. Okay, a group of lots of characteristics that are similar. But Jew? No. Jew is response to something else that was also orchestrated by the same fucking group of cult members. I hate having to repeat that all the time. He sure sounds like an anti-Christian. This is ridiculous. Great job by the Christians. It doesn't matter if they're Christians. That's why I hate this whole, oh, now we got to pick a different label. No. Bad is bad. Good is good. Reality is reality. And when you don't have to be whatever it is that they want you to be their opposition. You're playing the fucking game. Oh, that would imply, so if you're against all these things, that means you have to be this other thing that we've set aside for and designed for you to be. But we have to have you in the category, regardless. Fuck you. Stop trying to put me in categories. I don't believe that guy was really everybody what they make him out to be. Okay? And if he was, guess what? If he is that guy, he's going to forgive me anyway. And he's probably going to appreciate me for being skeptical and not just buying what some other bullshitters fucking have said for the last 2,000 years about him. You know? Hey, wow, you used discernment. High five, Dan. Fist bump. Jesus. God damn it. And it doesn't matter because it's all superfluous. There was no original sin. There was nobody necessary to come and absolve us from our curse. That's all Jewish thinking. It's all Jewish Old Testament bullshit lies. If you believe that there was original sin that had to be, you needed somebody to come back and die for, then you believe in Judaism. Because where's the root of that? It's Genesis it's in their fucked up book that is telling a story about them getting kicked out of Karshemish and flipping all the details around. We're all the Son, benevolent creator, no need for any Messiah, no need for anything else. All that does is put the responsibility put our responsibility on other people's shoulders. If we don't like bad things happening in our world, guess what? There's a solution for that. You either represent the God within you in practical action and take care of evil as you're supposed to because that's your fucking purpose here, or you cut pussy out and you let evil trample you. But you're not getting a savior. It doesn't work that way. You are the savior. If you don't step up, guess what? You don't get a savior. You are that. Why hasn't he shown up in 2,000 years? Because he's not going to. That wasn't the point or the plan. And people have been reading things to you incorrectly, and you've been buying it. So free yourself from that and understand that all the power's in your hands, and you don't have to wait anymore. Congratulations, you don't have to wait. Anytime we want to take this back, we can all do it together. One big community.
It talks about Jesus suffering an excrement as a punishment for claiming to be the Messiah.
I think you're an anti-Semite. Okay.
See, there's no argument with this guy. Fat, disgusting, homosexual. Yeah. And obviously a Jew.
We're done because you're an anti-Semite.
Okay.
We're done. They almost talk. Dude, this guy has to be working with like a 7-year-old mental maturity. I think he's touched. But you know what? In our world, if somebody is like that and Jewish, they go through their life being treated as if they're like everybody else, to the point where they might get a job that they're incapable of performing over you. But their mental maturity is a 7-year-old or less.
You're an anti-human rights hypocrite, and I think you don't care about your preborn neighbor, and you should repent, sir.
You should repent of your anti-Semitism.
Okay, I don't hate.
It's just a buzzword.
I can hate them. I hate Jews. Okay? There's nothing that they bring that's of any good. Do I know some Jews? Yes. Do I know some Jews that I get along with? 2. Yeah, 2 or 3. But none of them practice the religion. Not a single one of them practice religion. All 3 of them think of it like an ethnicity, and they have never put on a fucking small hat in their entire life. They just identify with it because they're told that. Just like if you were told you were German or you're told you were Italian, you'd probably like gangster movies, even though that's even its own psychological operation, also including Jews in that too. But you would probably lean towards favoring things that you think represent a part of you without actually knowing anything about it or representing it at all. So those people aren't in the cult. They see it as an ethnicity. The people who are embedded in this cult mentality of supremacy, that's a whole other thing. No, I can hate them and say confidently, if you want to call me an anti-Semite, actually, that's not even a proper definition. But yes, I hate people who are child killers, that are murderers, that are supremacists. I hate supremacists. How about that? I hate supremacists, period. If you think you're better than someone else, I hate you. Cool? So if you want to be a Jewish supremacist, I fucking hate you. If you want to be any other black supremacist, I fucking hate you. If you want to call violence or conduct violence on anyone else, especially us, who created your fucking civilization for you, I hate you. And I'm not to be trusted. Because if that's the way you are carrying yourself, you don't want me to have an opportunity around you, because I've got nothing to lose, man.
Anytime you're in an argument and you're losing, you can just call the person an anti-Semite.
When you call the Talmud a book of wickedness, you're an anti-Semite.
No. It's the reality of the situation. You can't call our book of death and gore and child harm evil because we're Jews. And we decided that that whole thing's a religion. So that means you're an anti-Semite. Okay, so if anti-Semite means I hate Satanism and I hate evil and corruption and wickedness and plots to murder my people. Yep. Anti-Semite, wear it proudly. Right fucking here. Let's stop shying away from the fucking word. Guess what? I'm probably a racist too. More than likely. Don't even know.
I didn't call it a book of wickedness. I think it has wicked things in it.
Yes, and to me that makes you an anti-Semite.
You ever hear that song? There's that Who's That Girl? And then there's that Peekaboo. There's that song. I used to go Jigaboo.
Know about the part where it talks about the Lord Jesus Christ being punished in
Stop calling him Lord. Sith Lord Jesus Christ. He's the Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine Christ. Jesus. Literally.
excrement. Do you know about that part?
I don't know.
Of course a Christian's going to think that's
I am a Christian and Jesus is my Lord and I worship him.
You worship anybody, you're a fucking retard and missed the point. So that's cute and all that you are kind of an attractive girl, but both of you are retarded. He's just more retarded.
Yo, stop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this? Propaganda. I don't care who the fuck's saying it.
Breaking flock cameras. That's not okay.
Yeah, stop getting them out of the way for Axon so that they don't have to take them down themselves. That way you can feel like you did something, and then the ones that are really going to fuck you up are going to be inside. Is that a bug on its head?
It's the rules. That's against our
What is on its head? I can't keep looking at that.
American spirit. Our forefathers would have never done that. Our forefathers were pacifists. They would have stayed home, watched Fox News, and invalidated everything as just woke media. Because that's what patriots do. Free country is built upon an ever-encroaching surveillance state that is slowly stripping the people of their liberties and raping the land.
Yes.
But don't worry, you can change that by voting. Sure, our government is involved in a child sex trafficking ring, but that should only be handled reasonably and politely. I want to make this clear. I do not condone anyone to be publicly executed with a Native American flint rock tomahawk for the world to see and to hold them accountable, because that's violent. Our forefathers would have never done that.
Okay. I can stare too, motherfucker. Ah!
Yo.
Yeah, but what I was getting at is the whole them showing you, like, teaching the monkeys how to dance, teaching the parrot to sing, showing people climbing up and cutting down flock cameras or sawing down the freaking posts or smacking them with their vehicles. All that shit is monkey see, monkey do bullshit. Those people probably aren't in trouble since they were recording it. Those people probably are doing something because they want other idiots to do it. Kind of like Gypsy Crusader, his whole crusaders.gg. You know, something like that. Where, yeah, you teach the idiots how to dance, and then other feds come in there and show that they're dancing too, and then you have faggots like Flood who can't even get his own thing, so he has to dress up like, or, you know, make himself out to be like a fucking clown as well, because talk about one unoriginal bastard who doesn't like reading, by the way. Reading sucks. They're all there to, what they call you, to, jam you up. Let's just leave it at that. They're assets and allies of the very thing that they pretend to not to oppose. What you represent and what you oppose, they're just pretending to be that thing so that you say and do things that can be threat assessed, my friend, held against you. The whole entire world is, you may as well be one. Once you realize this is a police state, once you realize this is like corrections officers and we are the prisoners, you're never outside of that situation of the can and will be used against you. Anything you say and do, wherever you say and do it, can and will be used against you. What do you mean everything? What if I say something that's legitimately awesome? Have you met the media? Have you met what the media can do to the public opinion of you? It doesn't matter what the fuck you say. The fact that you said anything at all will be used against you. And the rest will be deep faked. Yeah? Here, this is Rabbi Sniff-a-Finger.
People claim Israelis celebrate Lag BaOmer by throwing kittens and puppies in bonfires. Is there any truth to this? No, that's the stupidest crap I ever heard in my entire life. What kind of nonsense? What in the hell? That is just what? What in a...
That's not even good acting. He was too quick to answer. He didn't give a pause. He didn't say, I can't believe this is fucking you're gonna answer this question. No. But the Jews are our greatest ally. Yeah, okay.
What in the world? What? No, that is not a thing. That is not even remotely close to a thing, actually.
Volunteer to patrol Lag BaOmer bonfires to rescue animals from flames. Lag BaOmer. Volunteers saved some 30 cats and dogs from being thrown into bonfires last year, including this kitten. Make sure to protect pets and street animals on Lag BaOmer. Lag Bomber. I'm just going to call it that. Unabomber. The Ministry of Environmental Protection and Animal Welfare Department has published guidelines for the protection of pets on the eve of the holiday, during which it is customary to light bonfires. The MOEPS, yo, that's like Mos Def, is also calling on the public to be vigilant, in order to prevent animal abuse. But they should be vigilantes. But where is this at though? Where Ministry of Environment? You know, no one can guess. On Lag Unabomber, they don't just swing chickens. In Israel, hundreds injured, forest fires rage, and cats are threatened. Ritual bonfires lit in honor of a mystical sage. Mystical sage are thought to be responsible for the forest fires in Jerusalem that have since. Oh, gee. So, you know, like when they burn down Patagonia and all the wildlife that dies, that's kind of a lag bomer in a different territory by proxy, right? Because it's killing the animals, but they don't get to throw them in themselves. Haredi Orthodox Jews dance near a bonfire during celebrations of the Jewish holiday of some cult dark ritual fucking sorcerer of theirs. Literally what they just said. Mystical sage, you know what that means? Magician, black magic occultist, sorcerer is what it means. In honor of their funky smelling sorcerer. And Long Bomber in Haifa, a kitten was rescued just before it was thrown into the fire. Jews burning kittens and puppies alive on bonfires. In bonfires on Lag Bomber. That one just says bomber. It says, in recent weeks, I've seen mention of a Jewish and apparently specifically Israeli custom of throwing live kittens and puppies into the big bonfires that Jews create on the Jewish festival of Lag Bomer. Dog burnt to death in Lag Bomer bonfire. Police arrest 2 on suspicion of animal cruelty. Yeah, in Jerusalem where it's a holiday. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to get a lot of trouble. Petition, justice for a family dog allegedly thrown into a bonfire in Israel. These people are fucking disgusting in every way, shape, and form. And you have the Faucis of the world who just like to torture them by making lice and mites eat away at their faces. Right? This is all them. This is all them. They've convinced our women to murder their babies. And that's just a common practice. That's a really good way of getting yourself forever vested, regardless if you knew you were being or not, into their cult of dark sorcery, to where you're not going to be a recipient of any of the accolades of it, but your condemnation to it will most certainly be complete. Israeli occupiers burn sheep pen, attack Palestinian children in occupied West Bank. Oh, they had to attack the children too, huh? And they burned a sheep pen. That was 2023. Injured about 12,245. There's a bunch of dead animals in there that they burned it up. Yep. See what I'm circling here? No, follow me. And Mo. Ballbusters on Instagram. Get me up to 1,000 people. Seriously, like, what the hell? Wrong one. You see, you know the emblem. Just look it up. I have like 938 or something, like 934. Get it above 1,000. Get it above 1,000 followers, and it can be like monetized or some bullshit. Do it. You won't. You won't do it. Everything I get on Instagram stalls that because they don't want me to They don't want me to make anything. I'll get like 30 followers in a couple of days, and then I'll lose 40. It's just how it's like it doesn't make any sense, the math. I don't know what's happening here, but I would like it to stop. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? Shut up! What the fuck is happening? Dude, I can't fucking mute it. I can't stop it. Why doesn't it stop? Why is there no pause button on there? Why is there shit on top of the shit? Pause. Fuck off. Thank you. That's all I was looking for. Cocksmoker. Still nothing over here. We need one more over on this one. One more, guys. Over on Kick. The fuck are we doing here? Shut up. Yeah, still 99. I don't know what the problem is. Let's see what we got over here. Karen's still here. What's up, Karen? Still here. Being told you're born a sinner, you're always a sinning, is basically saying you don't do better, you're going to hell no matter what. Right? We are waking up now. BS, but it works on... let's see. Yes, original sin is like white guilt. Retarded Steen. Chosen bum. Mordecai bed sores. Nice. Jews regret? I'm so sure they do. Starvin Marvin from South Park. Click, clack, plop. Hailed Tsar Nicholas II and his family, says Urvat. Yes, never forget. And then break all the flock and other cameras because national security leaves their real tech within public reach. Yeah, exactly, right. I just saw some really cool drones today. Dude, they only have like if you're lucky, they have like a 17-minute freaking flight time, which you probably have to cut that in half. It's fucking such bullshit. Oh, never mind. I guess that wouldn't be, if you had extra batteries or whatever, I guess it wouldn't matter. Like a charging station. Because if I'm going to do rock climbing, or rappelling, I should say, it's one thing to have a camera attached to your helmet, but then or your chest, but then you're only seeing from that perspective. The better perspective is having something like another person on another rope following you down as quickly as you're going down, or better yet, you have a fucking drone that can do the tracing and tracking, right? And then you can go Aussie rappel down, or you can just do, standard rappel where you kick off and go backward. But it's so much more fun to have those angles. Like if you're gonna do base jumping, you want a drone. You want a drone to see it. POV when it comes to stuff like that isn't the best. And if you have somebody else, they have to be just as skilled, and you have to make sure you have the equipment for both people. It's just a lot of shit. And make sure they don't fucking fuck up your camera because they get scared on the rope, not knowing what to do with both hands. It's like, you don't need all that shit. Let's see. Ervat says, fixators are scraping the bottom of the scum bucket now. I'm not surprised, and they always were. I mean, look, they've got flood there. What do you expect? Ervat88 says, the honest great one is Frank Slade. Yeah, I've seen him do the same disrespectful, despicable fucking shit to people. None of them have he's a nicer guy. Nicer? Yeah, sure. Nicer. More often than not, but I've caught him doing just as reprehensible shit. Where I don't care what you think about people. That's just not how you conduct yourself among people. Especially if you want people to think that you're superior to someone else. You don't go down to their level and go, you're this and you're that for the cheap laugh. That's gay shit. There's not a single fucking one of them. And if you're making fun of other people being over there, it sounds like you can keep tabs. So I mean, come on now. Who's deaf? Oh, never mind. Oh, I was late typing that. Oh, and then Edward Simmons says, almost like the Australian custom of starting wildfires. Yeah, it must be theirs. We must do it too over here in California. Irva said, Eustace Mullins mentioned that this satanic cult and murder by injection. Yep. Canadian and American wildfires too. So, yep. And then Karen says, no. Obviously, all wildfires are natural. They did not do anything. I just asked them. Exactly. It's climate change. Certainly not all the accelerant by way of very tiny particles of minerals like aluminum and shit that they've been dropping over your head for as long as they have. Whatever does finally settle on the ground, that's a catalyst. It's going to make the fire burn hotter. Hi, Daniel. Batteries don't depend on batteries. Talking about the drone lady. Radio Sack says, all right, showing up at the end. That's my style. Whoa, that's a lot. Rock climbing is Sylvester Stallone. Rock climbing like Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, like Cliffhanger. Yeah, I actually like to hike up the mountain and then do the clip off and do the rappelling. The rappelling part's fun for me. I like that part. Like doing the climbing, that actually requires different gear and typically a spotter, but not all the time. Depends on what kind of gear you have. That shit can get super expensive. You put the little nuts and you tap them into the cracks. Like all that shit is fine and good and everything, but yes, it just seems like it takes an awful lot of time to get anywhere. And it takes, dude, nothing is cheap. $75 for one little stupid nut that you put in the wall so you can clip off on it. It's just like, and then you have to have all these extra, what do they call it, air traffic controller fucking devices on your rig. I guarantee you, Alex has all this freaking equipment and then some because that's what he does. He knows all about it. He's not talking about. He got like multiple fucking ropes. It's like, dude, just let me clip off from the top and go. That's the fun part of it, the whole thing anyway. If I want to work my upper body, I'll do some lat pull downs. You know what I mean? I'm good. I can do that outside. If I want to stretch my legs and stand up in from a crouch position, I'll do some squats. Irva says, it's all about the monkey app nonsense on fake sitters. We have to have the higher. Yeah, exactly. Well, oops, that was my ear. There is a way to use that if you really wanted to get random engagement, but you would have like a planned purpose. Like if you're going to show up as a person who's on a stream, why don't you show up with a couple questions to ask people? How about this? How about using the Socratean method? Because here's the thing. If you hate people simply because of the way, don't get me wrong. You have to fish, though. This is what I'm saying. You can't just write everybody off because of your first impression. You got to fish a little bit. Meaning, to me, it always mattered if you could strike the humanity and extract, bring it out to the surface of somebody. I don't care what they were. Good luck trying to extract any out of a Jew, but I'm just saying they have to first be humans. But if you, through like the Socratean method, could ask them a series of questions to where they come to a self-realization on their own, they themselves might reveal a goodness in them that other people don't even see. And then you leave that mark. What's wrong with that? Well, you weren't there. Maybe you roll with that. Oh my! It was fun distraction from that asshat though. And then Ervat says, "I'll be honest. I watch Frank Slade for his readings and the news, but once it goes too low brow crap, I'm out." Yeah, that's the thing. It's the thing that you were referring to. The going on Omegle and other stuff. And again, it doesn't have to be used that way. It's just how they're teaching people how to use it, which is engaging random strangers and insulting them for the sake of cheap, ridiculous, belligerent asshole laughter. And people who actually think that this is somehow National Socialist are fucking lost. They're not. They don't know what the cause is. They're just actual racist assholes without a direction or a purpose behind it. They're just there to make you look as bad as the media wants you to look by creating for people to see the very notion of inherent racism, because then they're going to associate that with everybody. You can have whatever feelings you want to have about other people, but there's a polite way of dealing with people, and then there's an impolite way of dealing with people. You can be polite with somebody even when you're pulling the fucking lever to electrocute them in an electric chair. But the point is, you can poise yourself in a way of respectability the whole time. You don't have to be a piece of shit unless you're trying to appeal to pieces of shit. In which case, I think those sites are doing a great job of finding all the fucking scumbags. I just don't want them to bring down people who just happen to be passing through. Curious. They're doing a hell of a job, consolidating the biggest fucking degenerates, and I hope they all burn. I hope they have their own special wing in the slaughterhouse, Karen said, okay, you guys talking to each other. I was out once that Jew Tamers of Cerberus came out there. Karen says, so I've heard I'm not him. Who are you guys talking to? Oh, it's you and Radio Sack talking to each other. All right. Is there still more? Jesus Christ. What about let's see. What about humanity and Homo erectus? Did I miss something? Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo erectus. Is that? See that thing? The freaking like buckwheat looking. Oh my god, that's hilarious. You've seen that thing, I'm sure. Hold on. I think it's like a wax dude or something. Let me see. What the hell? Homo, you wrecked this. No, it's Homo erectus. Well, we gotta get to the images though. There's a big buckwheat looking motherfucker. There he is. There you go. Yeah, that's totally us. They pinned it down. They won. This doesn't even look like the head that goes on that body, to be honest with you. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's like, hey, let's get some fossilized groid from the desert. Then we'll put this shrunken crazy fuck monkey head on it, and we'll say, yeah, missing link or something. Oh no, it's just Homo erectus. Sounds good. Fuck you, nigger. Literally. Can't open this page. Can't get there from here. There it is. There it is now, fag. Oh. That one looks more human than the other one, though. They can't even keep their shit straight. Like, what is that? That's that brow? This? That's a rape ape. Rape ape. Rape ape. There's a lot of fake history, too. I mean, just keep that in mind. Oh, she's sneaking to something, ain't she? She's got a brain thought. Watch out. Or she... I don't know. Do you think maybe this is an endearing look? Like a grandma? Or lustful? I don't know. Drunk? Yeah, that's straight up ape. Rape ape. They want to make it. They want to make that connection, don't they? Jesus Christ. Not much up there, eh? That looks like a Mexican. The more things change, the more they stay the same. What? Why are you showing us this? Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. There's your. Oh, hold on. God damn it. No fair. Perfect physical specimen. They've got kind of the narrow shoulder thing going on too, huh? Maybe they were manufactured from an oive. Maybe the evolution of groid to oive was done by some crazy mad scientist, and then the oives were just such belligerent evil things that they killed their creator, like Frankenstein. Huh.
One day.
Ah! Shut up. Where am I at? I think we're going to bed, guys. What about the homoeroticism of erect? What is it? Still around about 90% of their DNA is ooga boogas. I think it's more. I recently read about a theory connecting autism to remnants of Neanderthal DNA. Okay, well, that's another misdirection from fucking vaccines. Sure. Nobody's born with it. It's given to you at birth from the injections that they give you. The only way you're going to have a developmental disorder, aside from being injected with fucking poison, is if you didn't have, your mother didn't have enough of the 90 essential nutrients, of the nutrients that human beings need in spades. We were just talking about spades, weren't we? For both of you. And if you're mineral deficient through the womb, you're going to have mineral deficiency sensitivities and things that are caused by the rest of your life. You won't develop in your brain unless it's up there. But yes, it's literally the poisoning event of your childbirth that causes the autism to whatever degree is up. Because this is all before you get your child home and you get to understand its own personality to even be able to tell if the personality has changed. That's why they want to do it right away. So they don't say, oh, well, he wasn't like that before. The theory of humanity beginning in Africa was by a drum roll, please, a Jew. Google Gemini told me the Vikings and samurais were black skin. Of course. No, I think what they meant is that they skinned blacks. It's probably more like it. Juggle their lies. And juggle in their lies. Yeah. Funny, Jews act like victims of the Holocaust. The Africans are the ones who look like they were put in boom, boom. Wait, where are we at? Where are we at with that one? Hold on. You son of a bitch. Hold on. There we go. Rape. Scott Rhodes of the Road to Power did a great breakdown of Neanderthal breakdown of the Jews' relationship. Scott Rhodes, is he like Dusty's brother or something from the wrestling group? The cargo cult mentality. I agree, Daniel. I am autistic, and I absolutely believe it was from aerosol mercury from childhood vaccines. My mom didn't know any better. Yeah, that's. I mean, I could be partially Asperger's myself. So they say. I don't. They could make labels for anything they want. That makes them feel better. All right, guys. Good night. I'm gonna do this episode when I have more energy. Okay. Sorry about. Oops, I screwed up there. Oh yeah, but if anybody wants to, Feel free. Let's see. Keep on. Let me refresh this real quick. You'll copy. I'm surprised Karen didn't already drop this. Why can't I find the pin button? No, it's not showing up. There it goes. Not that Scott Rhodes of Wrestling. This was speaking their truth, and the Jack smacked him, and the J smacked him down with $10 million lawsuit. That's fun. And then I'll go ahead and put this. Let's see if there's probably nobody here anyway, but what the hell? It'll be here for the next time. Pin it. And of course. Whoa, wait a minute. Somebody showed up. What the fuck? How'd you get here? There you go. There's people. People? Shut up. I'm slow tonight. Been a really screwed up week since last Friday. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Karen. You know what else? I've been a very tired person because I made a week's worth of sauce in 2 days. I just made sure it was all done. So now it's on Rebecca's ass or hands or wherever to package this shit. So tomorrow I have a list of things I would like to do. Hopefully I can get to it. Hopefully I can get some of this done. And then I need a little bit of love from the audience here to help get these numbers up over on the tube. So if you see this, we're at 24. I need to at least crack 100, you know what I mean? And then let the videos do what they do after that. But we're looking at wisdom, fitness, AZ. Even if you don't like the content, you can support the dude who does it, right? And that'll go a long way. I can send you a link later. For what? What are you talking about? Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I was just teasing about the Scott Rhodes thing. I just saw that name. I'm like, just working with the material I have before me. Improving. But yeah, I want to do Ferula thing. I want to do a couple of reaction videos. I want to do some fit news, unlocking youth, unlocking other things, fit tips, some quick things. Oh, did you know that I learned something today when I went to buy a weight belt because I've outgrown my 2 dumbbells for shoulder shrugs. They're 2 60-pounders, and that I can do them like sometimes, depending on what else I've been doing that have tired myself out. Sometimes I can get like 40 to 45 shrugs, and that's with holding it for briefly. So that's not enough. It's not enough weight for the traps. So I went and I put my weights. I stacked up my weights on my squat bar. But then I'm like, I'm basically have to. Well, fuck you, Nick. Ah, man, don't fucking rip that on me here. I have to deadlift it in order to get in a position to start doing the shoulder shrugs. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, with this also, it's in front of me, so I'm going to be leaning forward a little bit. It's not like having barbells at my sides where it's balanced. So, okay, I need a weight belt so I don't screw myself up. So I bought a weight belt. I did some work on that today, and I learned something. I was like, well, let me just be sure. So I took the ribbon measuring tape, and I'm a size 30. I have I think I have one pair of pants that's a size 29, and I can fit in them. These ones are 30s, and they all fit a little different. They're not super loose, but like some of the 31s I have are like folded over when I put a belt on because they're just too big. So whatever, right? It's 34 inches around because you go around your waist, your stomach, your belly button. But even if I went beneath that, there's vanity. I didn't realize that there was vanity measurements for men. So what the hell? So a 34 is like a 38? Dude, I've seen pants that are 41s and higher. What does that make them? Is it an exponential thing or is it a +4? Like, what is that? So yeah, I was a little surprised when I would just have picked the 31 inch and said that's probably right about it. So that way it's not too loose, not too tight. But then I did a measure. I'm like, no way. So yeah, that's a thing. If you're going to buy a weight belt, make sure you buy a weight belt that is your actual size so you don't get one that's too small. Unlocking youth, but not with the foreskin-based facial treatment. Yes. Yes. Man, no, even though, in the day, I thought, when she was younger, I thought Sandra Bullock was pretty hot. I don't know about rubbing foreskins on your face. That seems a little Jewish. Or pornographic. Short reaction, combine the two, keep videos under 6 minutes for a couple of those. Oh, and also lots of other things. But there's some things I just aren't going to be super deep topics for fun. But also, a lot of the stuff that I encounter still attacks the same, or I should say, encounters the same cult. And encounters the same cult, so it's dealt with anyway. You can go from any direction, and if it's health related or if it's fitness related, there's lies and Jews told them. Right? Daniel, stop fake looks maxing. Obviously, you aren't smacking yourself in the face or have a J handler. N-word wanted me to say it. Oh, wait, I don't want it to have imbalance. I missed that time. And all it does is cause bruising. It's not causing thickness. By the way, you have to have material, like the proper nutrients in your body for muscle or for bone to thicken. The whole, I can chop down this tree with my shin and made the bones stronger. I made the mitochondria tougher, maybe. Cannibal Corpse was looks maxing before it was cool. They made the song Hammer Smashed Face decades ago. There you go. I'll admit I found her attractive back in the day, but not anymore. Well, I mean, everybody gets old, dude. It's not hard to say they're not attractive 50 years later. Like Minnie Driver before she showed that she was a little crazy. I thought she looked all right. She's kind of got like a horse jaw face, though, doesn't she? She's got that. Speaking of masseter gum chewing, Jesus Christ. Rebecca's got that too. Rebecca's got that jaw thing going on. All right, we're gone. Oh, what was that word? Yeah. So scroll down here. Oh wait, let me read this. Kabbalist blah blah. This is actually, you know what? I'm going to save this because this is actually going to be added to the one that we do for this actual video. So I'll just shut up for now. Right here is the Bro Shows Gaming. Okay, that's another place you can find all these videos as they're playing on YouTube. Okay? See what I'm saying? And then you just go to live, because everything I do is a stream, and you'll be able to find the sheets that I do. Okay? See the long history of the sheets that I do? This is all on YouTube. Remember how I was kicked off YouTube because it was the Ballbusters channel that had 1,200 or 1,300 followers? Yeah, well, now this one has 7. But at least all the shit's still here, right? Right? Some people just like the convenience of using YouTube for whatever reason. Their computer's set up for it better, or their phone or whatever. Well, I'm here. I'm here. I get a message to myself from YouTube every time I'm on. So they're sending out that message. Yeah. Sup? Yes, AIDS, another infection doctor started. I love it. That is awesome. Rape ape. I'm gonna do that forever now. So yeah, and also I'm on Twitch, I'm on Kick, see these things I'm pointing at. But please also follow the Fit Wit channel here. Dr. Glidden stuff on there, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of cut ups. So I'm going through this whole thing, and I'm gonna start doing this tomorrow too. This is gonna be a fun project. I'm gonna go through all of the myth busting medical insights videos, and I've already started this, but I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and do the timestamps. I just know which ones I have to go back and look at. Give him the timestamps of all the things that, at least from my perspective, he would have said something different now that it's been 10, 15 years since he's done these, and given, based off all our talks and the stuff we've been talking about, that he might want to do some edits, and then he's going to. So he's gonna basically level up his entire site, and I'm going to help him with it. So that's pretty kick-ass, right? Yeah. Because if you've seen the last episode, he said everything that he said about viruses not being a thing. And he said, I might lose some people here, but I don't care because it's the truth. Damn right, it's the truth. AZ poisoning, the kind that thing that makes you plead the fifth 130 times. Yeah, AZT was is what causes the death. So it's the same thing like the COVID thing. Oh, we created something in the atmosphere that made people feel this much ill, but then they took that shot or got this ventilator, and that's what killed them. It was the protocol procedure once the ghoulish doctors had you in their grips. Well, with the AZT, if you didn't take the AZT, you didn't die of AIDS. So what was killing them? The AZT. They're not, but it's not transmittable, so that's not going to help anything. It's not. I guarantee you, it's not sexually transmitted at all. It's the one sexually transmitted disease that doesn't have any, like, genital or internal, vaginal soaring or any of that. AZT was also shallow sea sponge venom. So the signature of the cult, this cult of serpent cult, the cult of child sacrifice, when they start using, whenever they're using sorcery or sorcerer type ingredients in your pharmakia. Yeah, so follow the Fit Wit. That's all I was trying to get at. Buy me a coffee, YouTube. I guess it's on there twice. And then you can follow the Twitter over there. Website's here. You have 1 day. No, you have... I don't know if you have any time anyway. Oh, wait, no. The rest of today. The rest of today, you have to use Paratus 15 for 15% off. Paratus for 15% off, not Paratus 15. And leave Big Pharma behind right there. You can use Fitwit or Ballbusters for 25% off. And then the 90 essential nutrients, which, by the way, people are figuring it out. There's more people getting it, and that's good because duh. Great pitch there, right? Because duh. Whole food multivitamin. Alaskan cod liver oil. I almost said that word so that it sounded like English. Alaskan cod liver oil. There you go. That one. So 1, 2, and then the most important one. The Fulvic-Humic blend. Get it. Make sure you have it. It's a 3-month and 10-day supply. And then the IP6 Supreme with inositol. All right. And then I also get the core copper. Right there. And I'm going to get the pure collagen. As soon as I get my paper out money. All right. And the code is, oh, yeah. Use code BB5. Otherwise, yeah. That'd be kind of stupid, right? You got to use code BB5. There is no affiliate link here. you need to use code BB5. Or forever let it dominate your destiny. Or something. That's right, Karen. That's right, Radio Sack. Yeah, I tell everyone in my life that unless my heart is literally stopped beating or something, do not take me to the fucking hospital. I don't want my organs harvested while in a coma. Right. Yes, BB5. Yeah. I'll see you in the morning or something. I might be making videos pre-recorded for the other thing first. And I have to figure out why when I tried to cast over to the newer channel that it said that it didn't want to connect. From Spreaker. I mean from StreamYard. I thought that was a little odd. So I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. But I don't want to do live on there yet. I want to do polished videos, reaction video type things, you know? I think it'll be fun. Good times. We got plenty of live streams here. Yeah, probably, Karen. I got to get up and go to my daughter's second day of school. So I'm going to do that. No. Which means I guess I don't do the elliptical. Oh, man, I'm such a loser. I'll just have to do it when I get back. All right, later.